Welcome, everyone, to the Lynx at Fort Dragonia Winners Bracket Round 2 match. Today we have CorporateImage versus RomTimney. Rom is the winner of our three-way tiebreaker in Group A. For commentary, we have Super Handy, Azalea, Doc, and Carbon Drank. Hopefully everyone's having a good day today. Without further ado, we'll get this started, and I'll leave you in the very capable hands of the commentary team. So if runners are ready, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good luck, everyone.
Okay, let's see who we have. We've got one screen is Fargo versus Nikki today. So the first thing that happens is you come out of this thing in this dream sequence, and the first RNG is a character you get.
Yeah, fortunately no one got Korcha, so no bad omens at the start.
No cursed runs yet.
No cursed runs yet.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, both of them had pretty clean dodges. For anybody who's familiar with the run, been watching, keeping up with these races been happening, you know that the first section here is random in terms of like where the enemy locations are, especially the bats, and you're just trying to hope to get through here without getting any extra encounters.
I think that was the spiciest start we've had.
Yes.
That Cybot was in everyone's way.
The absolute worst is whenever that Cybot is blocking the stairs and not looking at you, so you just can't get him to even get away from it.
Yeah, and he's so slow to move that if you're trying to kite him away, it takes forever.
Yep.
Oh. I was trying not to say it. I was like, the actual worst is when the bat is blocking you and the Cybot's at the top of those stairs.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
I almost said too, at least we didn't have any encounters. Then, no.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Rom made maybe like the decision was better than accidentally running up into the Cybot, trying to like panic and get by, because then if he gets caught between both of them, then it's really disastrous.
So normally, right, if that ever happened in like a PB attempt, obviously that's a reset. But would you would you rather take that encounter or like reset the room?
I would probably, like in a race attempt, in my brain, I would probably reset the room. I'd probably keep running through the down path, right? I feel like that's probably the option.
Yeah.
I feel like resetting the room back and forth can't be 20 seconds, right?
No, I think you're right. It's probably faster, assuming that you don't get trolled again.
Right.
But I mean, really good dodges. I mean, both times. That's just so unfortunate that Rom had to do it 3 times, and the positioning.
Ringo in chat says the commentators are so advanced, even their thoughts are jinxing the runs.
No bias here, but if I was jinxing, I would not choose Rom.
Oh. Commentator biased.
I kid.
Fortunately for Corporate, it's Handy that does the jinxing, and his jinxing is completely unbiased.
That's true. I just go for everybody.
That is some meta jinxing.
Yeah, but we wake up past the dream sequence that Serge was having, and we are gonna go talk to Lena to get our first quest here, which is, like always, we're gonna be going to try to get 3 Komodo scales from 3 different Komodo fights that we're gonna have to do, just to advance the plot. There are gonna be some other drops that we're gonna need to get as well, but we can get to those whenever we get closer to them.
And of course, getting all of the drops and the various different encounters that we'll be seeing here, there's a lot of possible like RNG varieties we can go through. And so there's one or more backup strategies that either or both of the runners may have to employ to ensure they get all of those items.
Even though our main character Serge here has a girlfriend, Lena, if you're playing this casually, there are other girls he could end up with at the end. So he can end up with Lisa, or we'll meet later, or the femme fatale, Carl. He could end up with her.
So I learned a little bit of like, not fanfic, but like, I guess story plot character related the other day. Apparently the barkeep owner in Arnie is the brother of Orcha. I did not know that until a few days ago.
That makes sense. I can see that.
I didn't know that either.
I had always thought it
Also-
was like him in a different world-ish, but family.
We do have a command for it, and Dine did touch on it, but I figure we can touch on it at least, like we answer it one time on commentary just for, the beginning of the race. But, so yeah, Pat Keel asked, sorry for not knowing this is an 80% race to the end, and as Dine had linked, so this race actually starts from the very beginning of the game and goes to the end of the Fort of Dragonia, where you trade bodies with Lynx.
Yeah. Speaking about categories a little bit, in this category, like casually speaking, there's a couple things that you could be doing before we go through this section that we're about to. Most notably that people know is getting Pashul in the party, and for the speedrun in any category that we do, we actively do not want to do that, because all of the enemies that we encounter, if we have more than one person, being Serge in our party, all of the enemies will have double health, which means that we cannot potentially one-shot them.
Ooh, Corporate opens up the first fight with a double miss on 3s.
Yeah, and so right there you see that Corp also threw a 3, and that does enough damage to kill. If we had Pashul, we'd have to do 2.
And so now begins the part where we're going to start looking at the item drops they get from these fights. So each of the runners is going to need... Oh, well, Corp got 2 feathers. That's the rare drop. That's one of the items that's needed. We're also going to be looking for humors and a fang as well. Ideally, we'll get 2 humors and a fang.
Yeah, as Azal was saying, normally we're looking for 1 feather, 2 humors, and a fang to have like a complete set of like the items that we need. But we have backups for, not getting 1 humor, not getting a fang, and, a backup they usually have to do for the feather, because the feather is the rare drop. But Corp just starts off with getting both 2 rare drops there.
Yeah, I didn't see, but I think Rom may have got a feather as well.
Oh, wow.
That's a risky jump from Rom. So Rom was trying to dodge this encounter. Either he was going to consider going for Ivory Dagger strategies, or at least try to get his humors later and potentially get what's known as a mini star. But he jumped a little too soon because that beach bomb doesn't sit at the bottom for very long. So kind of wasting a little bit of time jumping off and then still getting the fight.
Yeah, at the very least, hopefully he gets a... This is not the formation you want either when you get into a beach bum encounter. You would rather get 2 beach bums just because it gives you double the chance of getting at least 1 humor, but you would like to get 2. There's a chance, and I'm going to go ahead and say it, that like it gives them a tablet or nothing, and that would be not great. Okay, he did get it, and a fang. So technically, Rom is set on all of the materials that he needs. Because he
did get the feather then?
I think
so.
so.
It did. Oh, yeah, okay. I was assuming that he did from what Azala said.
Yeah, I think I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that I saw it.
Yeah, sorry, Handy, you were saying?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, yeah, he's set on everything he needs because we'll get to it a little bit later, but there's also like backups that we can do if he doesn't happen to get another humor at all from a beach bum. But he should be set on the items he needs. I don't know if Corp has any fangs yet, but the Mamamoto here can drop 1.
Corp did get the fangs, so currently he's down the humors. So
okay.
He'll be taking at least 1 extra fight in K-Power, probably only the 1. Yeah. I assume he won't risk the rare drop.
Yeah, so what I was mentioning is Rom is also in the same scenario where he wants what's an ivory vest drop later that we will, we'll use it in some fashion to get one of the 2 humors that we want. You can run with only 1 humor, though you'll be running with what's called the ivory dagger, which is you lose damage as opposed to having an upgraded weapon, which that humor is used for. So while it does look like Corp is in a lead, and he probably still will be, he will be taking a fight later, most likely, which will even the score a little bit, or even the time.
Right. To touch on, Corp also did get the first stat up of the game. So in this game, in Chrono Cross, we don't actually have to do any grinding. Every boss fight or star fight basically gives you a weighted random chance of getting certain stat ups that you want for a character to go up, and Corporate did hit his first one, so that's good. Ram was having a little bit of a wild Komodo fight.
Yeah, it looked like he went for the double 3s earlier and missed both of them, I believe.
Oof. He also does not. He has 3 feathers though.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, sorry. Corp got the other 2. My bad. That's right.
Well, if Rom didn't have a feather earlier, he has one now. So either way, neither runner will be doing the backup feather, which is about 20 or 30 seconds to go and get that.
I think it's like
12.
15. Yeah, it's like 12 or 15, somewhere in there.
As long as you don't run into one of the fish on your way back up.
Yeah, that's nobody would do that.
I definitely didn't do that earlier this week.
It's very easy to do, because when you see these runners come back on the screen over here, if they do the movement right, it's really simple. Like, you can literally just, because of the way that the fish naturally spawn, you can just kind of run at an angle and like immediately get behind the first fish, so that you don't have to set off to the side, and it's just really clean. But if you have to get the fish, the feather chest, coming back up means you kind of have to like judgment when you can hop behind the first fish to not get hit by the second fish either.
Yeah, it's fairly lenient, but if you still mess it up somehow, you're either gonna run into the fish as you run forward, or get hit from behind, like right at the end. So it's not the end of the world. You can there's still a spot that you can kind of if you think you're gonna get hit from behind, you can veer off and just wait.
And it's not even that much slower.
Yeah. It's just another added thing that you could mess up, which nerves do play a factor sometimes.
Especially in races.
So the mechanism for this game is sorted out here as Serge is on the beach, suddenly kind of wave and sees some hallucinations or whatever, and then all of a sudden he's transported to a beach, but Nina isn't there, and it will turn out a little bit later that this is another world. And so the little mechanism is that instead of traveling in time, as you did in Chrono Cross, you travel between alternate realities. For this particular run, we'll remain in the another world, as it's called, for the rest of this Lynx 2 run.
Yep. So, backpacking off of what Doc was mentioning, yeah. So we do wake up here. We're like, where is Lena at? And then this old man basically just tells us that she's back in Arnie Village, and that's why we're about to see Corp. And then shortly after, Rom heading back to Arnie Village to see what's up.
If you're playing this casually, you'll notice one of the first differences is that the Komodos that you had to chase and ran away from you will now chase you, get in your way. It's like they want to fight you. They're kind of aggressive in this little scene here, so kind of an idea that something's different.
So another thing I want to kind of sneak in here real quick. We mentioned earlier kind of what the rules for this category were in terms of where it ends. And we also mentioned the fact that the rest of the run will be taking place primarily in another world. So one detail for those of you maybe less familiar with this category, is that even though this is not a full any percent run, this is actually the strats that you're going to see, the route that the runners are going to use and everything is identical to what you would see in a full any percent run. We just don't go the entire length of the game. So there's very little modifications that even make sense for this category. So most likely, with the exception of a few minor things like maybe skipping a chest or skipping a purchase during a purchase menu or something like that. Apart from that, we're likely to see exactly what you'd expect during an any percent run, just compressed to a shorter period of time.
I'm now making his way back through Lizard Rock, going back to visit our girlfriend, but the girlfriend doesn't know who we are because she's not our girlfriend. She's another girlfriend. Well, she's another. Yeah.
I've never heard it. Another girlfriend.
Another girlfriend.
I wanna take a second to touch back on what Azala was saying about the strategies, because there's also another thing that's pretty interesting. A lot of times, especially in Chrono Cross speedruns, we talk about how, and this came up yesterday, where it's like, we talk about stats and our strength. Mentioned earlier, also real fast. There's Corp taking the beach bum fight. Looks like he got the worst encounter formation. Ideally, you want just 2 beach bumps to get 2 humors, but we talk about how strength and Lena's magic and these stat lines are very important, and they are. But a lot of the time, it's mostly set up for later, which we're not going to get to later in this category. So you can get very competitive times, almost regardless of your stat line in this category.
Corp missed like 4 times, and so now he's seeing make waves, and there's no enemies dead yet. Ooh, that's a lot of damage. Uh-oh.
Wow, this is getting absurd.
Serge?
I don't even know what
Serge.
Beach Bum does for his what his 4th attack is, but oh, it's just regular.
Yeah, and this is definitely why hitting and your accuracy is probably the most important stat, even though we can't really impact it outside of one item that gives us 1% in the weapons.
He did get the hero.
Yeah. And after that, definitely not going to fight the other one.
Yeah, but like Carbon was saying, I think most experienced runners would actually tell you that they would like to have average or above average strength and little misses rather than like godlike strength and then, several misses. Like hitting is just so important.
Yeah, and honestly, that fight was like a perfect demonstration of that, where Serge definitely has the strength to kill those things in 2 hits, but it took, several turns to do it because the attacks just weren't landing for Corp.
Wow, and because of that fight, Corp is only a couple seconds ahead.
Yep. Heading into the first tutorial fight, which as this fight starts, you're actually going to see both the runners doing something that they're going to do for like start of like the next couple of fights, where they're going to defend to start the fights, because until the game hits the story marks that it considers needs to be done in the fight, your damage actually doesn't matter. So you're literally just spending stamina and wasting time for no reason. So they're going to defend until Salt attacks Serge, which will initiate some initial text for the fight.
Yep. And what's kind of like, so we, as Handy was saying, we can't do damage to them until the tutorial bit of this is done. But so in past races, we've talked about the AP system, and this fight can be kind of slow just because of that AP system, where every enemy is going to roll basically a starting turn, and if they go before we get the tutorial done, that's time loss. And then once we get to start the fight and do damage, they've already re-rolled again, so they get another starting turn that's kind of random. So
we actually
at the nice roll here where Salt, who starts the tutorial, went first for him, but Rom got Pepper going first, and then Cars went, And then Salt finally got to go, so he had to just sit there for a couple of extra attacks before the tutorial even started. So, as you were just saying it was going on the screen to demonstrate.
So I think that's actually a really good example of like, so in terms of like the AP, as we mentioned before, we actually know what the AP values for the enemies are going to be, at least for their following turns outside of the starting turn. But that was a really good representation of actually the randomness of the starting turn APs, where, as Doc was saying, Corp actually got to start this fight technically a bit earlier because of just getting a good roll from Salt.
So one of the other things, wow, that was a lot of damage on that fireball. 40.
Oh, a miss.
So one of the other things about this fight in particular, it's not particularly dangerous, but we're trying to kill as fast as we can. So their Rom's fireball +2 did 38 damage, where Corpse did 43. So Kid's stat line in conjunction with Serge's really helps you, if you hit everything, reduce the number of attacks you have to do, reducing the number of turns that go, and allowing you to attack faster. So pretty good fight from Corp, it seemed.
He had a nice crit there at the end. I think that allowed him to kill without seeing another turn.
He also did get to 11 strength, so he's hit both star levels, and he got all the drops, all the regular drops.
The other thing about missing that makes it so bad is if you notice, when an attack misses, the percentage to hit the next one does not go up. If you hit, then the percentage to hit the next one actually goes up higher. So there's a better likelihood of you hitting the second one. Whereas if you miss, it just stays low for the whole time. Rom has been getting trolled on the misses, and finally he kills Karsh.
I thought he was going to get Dragon Rider, but maybe Dragon Rider already happened. But he does get through it. Hopefully he gets... Okay, he does go to 10 here.
Oh, and he got a power glove.
Yeah, so
He did.
So Corp got all the common drops, and Rom got the commons and then the power glove. Meaning, when I say the commons, I mean he didn't get the bone axe, but he got the power glove, which is really good for him right now. So they're both effectively 11 strength. The power glove giving a +1.
So this could come to matter since they're actually going to be using Kid, since they're doing Iron Dagger. But Brom did get the power glove like you are mentioning, but I'm pretty sure I saw Kid at the end of that fight. After the setup, she was at 6 strength.
Yeah, and on corporate side, Kid did get a strength up from the fight as well.
This is a run-ender if Rom says yes to Kid. Corporate has successfully said no to Kid. And that's what we need to do so we can actually get Lena in our party, who is a blue innate that is a decent magic user, and we'll be using her for a very important role later, which, if you're familiar with the run, you know what that is, and if not, stay tuned.
So
Yeah, that's important thing to mention. Is very easy to kind of just not pay attention and mash through the text here and accidentally accept Kid here, and that kind of messes up the route a whole lot.
So Daffy in chat asks, is it actually worth renaming Kid and Lynx 2%? And that's actually a pretty good question. I would say I think yeah, because of how text is like. So for anybody who doesn't know, so we rename characters to one letter just because of the way that text is rendered. It's left to right across. And so by renaming to less characters, for characters who speak a lot or get their name mentioned a lot, it ended up saving some amount of time throughout, especially a full run. But it's going to be obviously less time in a shortened version of the run. However, I would say since you get Kid so early and Kid does talk a lot and she's mentioned a lot, I do think that it is worth. There is probably discussion to be had of whether or not it's worth maybe renaming Glenn or something in Lynx 2.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's actually timed it, but it probably makes sense to rename. Which is why I think most of us also do. Also, as I believe Andy or one of you was mentioning earlier, where it's like for this Lynx 2% category, we for the most part follow the any percent, just because the category was really made to kind of train on for any percent to get a shorter version of the run through. So, while you could make these kind of minor optimizations, they're really not as beneficial as just learning and practicing to do the any percent route.
Marshall was so excited to go on a field trip with you. Save the world, I guess.
Rom asking what drops he got. Very nice.
We
CC,
actually saw-
I've done that so many times. Chat, help me out.
I think we actually saw both menus doing a quick menu on Poshel to equip that ivory vest that they got from the Karsh Salt and Pepper fight, and that's because they only have a single humor that they got as a drop, so they're gonna swap that equipment off of Poshel to disassemble the ivory nail that it starts with, I believe, and we'll see that when we get to Terminal a little bit.
We actually see Corporate going into the second tutorial fight using Salt and Pepper, where we're going to start with text. We're going to actually defend here because, once again, tutorial fight, we need this tutorial text to happen, and then we actually can start the fight.
So somebody was saying that both of these are innate yellow. Salt and pepper are innate yellows.
In this fight, actually, one of the biggest things is whether or not Poshel hits. And Poshel does hit, so that actually makes the Salt phases fight actually a lot faster. Oh, and a crit from Lena. Should we be seeing the return of Swole Lena to to the Lynx races?
Yeah. When Close to War was grinding his world record of like a 41, 42 something, he changed the strategy because for the longest time we were using Magma Bomb strats where we would pick up the Magma Bomb when we get Lena, put it on her, and instead of defending with Poshel, we have Lena go up, get element levels, tutorial starts, Magma Bomb, etc. But on average, it's just faster to do it with this strategy and risk the misses. Where if you do miss, you just about have the same time as, you know, a normal or good Magma Bomb strat.
I missed Corporate. Did he get a level up from that last fight?
His Surge
strength.
missed the strength there.
He did get the Electro Jolt though, which we're not going to use, but I wish we would. It's a great element.
Good for
Hey,
Salmon, right?
Well, way back in the day, we actually did use it. I was never running the game at that time, but it was used on the neon bulbs, I believe. And even at Lynx 1 for a while, so. But Corpse now entered turn meet. Rom with the crit.
Rom got a
kill.
crit, yep.
Now, if somebody had confirmed my yellow innate for salt and pepper, because that would have really explained something here. I realized no wonder they're always running away, because they're yellow.
We do. But so we do see the cutscene starting in Termina for CorporateImage. He's about to actually get Kid in his party, even though we did deny her 3 times in KPAL.
Yeah, I was gonna say that earlier while Rom was finishing up his fight, Corp has entered Termina. He met up with Kid, who kind of gets a little pissy that we have Lena in our party, thinks that she's our girlfriend, which, as Doc has mentioned, she's our another girlfriend. But we're trying to get our way into Viper Manor here, and so casually, there's 3 ways that you can choose to get into Viper Manor. There's the Guile route, Pierre, and Nikki route. Most commonly, people probably used Guile because he's one in the bar and he's a pretty cool character. But we are going to end up using with Pierre. And it just so happens that while we need to go upgrade our weapons, which is where Corp's headed to now, Pierre is also there. So his route is just significantly the fastest and honestly the most convenient as well.
You see Corporate going to this mansion over here, and this is to pick up the Profiteer purse, which It has some effect, but we don't really care about the effects. Turns out it's made of iron, so we can make iron weapons early with it. So that's what we do. We just break down the top kill first.
Yeah, so Corpse disassembling that ivory mail that he took off Boschel and the Profiteer purse makes the iron dagger and the steel swallow, and here he's gonna equip both of them. He's also probably gonna equip this ivory helmet onto Serge for just a little bit of defensive boost, and then Rom will follow shortly.
Here, the most fabulously dressed swordsman around. Real hero of this game. But he's lost his hero medal, and so Serge and the gang have to go find it. Fortunately, here actually just dropped it out in the yard, and he didn't even notice. He just dropped it on the ground right outside of his door. That's how much of a hero Pierre is. Doesn't even go outside to look for his little medal, but we find it for him, and then he joins our party. Uh-oh. As soon as Corpse Stream comes back up, he'll join our party.
Okay, it's back. It's back.
Okay. Yeah, I know recently there's, or at least maybe a couple weeks ago, there were some storms around this area, so not sure what happened, but all set, so no issues with Corpse End. And as Rom starts the pier, so that looks like it's about, I don't know, what would you say, Andy? 60 seconds difference between Rom and Corp right now?
Somewhere close to that, I think. It's something that's still very manageable, especially as we come up to the manor and what can happen in the manor with the amount of fights you have to take. But yeah, this is I would say it's probably about a minute, but it's still a very close race.
Yeah, a lot can happen. So Corp switches Poshul. It's the last. I mean, we'll see her again, but we will not use her in battle. And we put Pierre in our party because now we're entering the manor, and we have to fight these guards first. Which normally guards are not considered special; they're just normal fights. But these two are a star level, and so we will have a chance to get a strength and magic and all the other good stat ups from this fight. So with Corp being at 12 strength on his Surge, he's going to take at least 2 rounds, like basically Surge running up and Kid running up to finish one. So if he was 13 with the white that's on the field with this, he could potentially 1 round, but he doesn't have the stat line to go for that. But it's not that big of a deal. It's just kind of very, very minor time.
We actually just saw what Carbon was talking about come into play right there. Even though Serge did hit all 2-2-3 for corporate, it did not kill. I kind of like the dash and slash there. Usually elements are a little bit slower than physicals, but he ensured that he had no misses, and he knew he could kill.
Yeah.
He was at 11.
He also ensured that since that only cost him 1 AP, that the other guard didn't get a chance to go.
That is actually true. Yeah.
Yeah. So his other choice was to do a 2-3. We haven't talked about it yet. Is about stamina pushing. He had some really good AP for that one guard to not have attacked him while he was killing the first one. But he could have also thrown a 2-3, which is just slightly faster than doing the dash and slash, but as was mentioned, has a chance to miss, and he would have had to hit both to even have a chance to kill. So
Pierre is about ready to have his most useful moment here on the Corporate's stream, as boom, he takes a hit for 470 damage. Thank you, Pierre.
Oh, Rom almost had the same fight, except that one guard rolled exactly after Kid. So, and so there you see Rom going for attacks instead of that dash and slash. And he had to hit his a 2/2 and then a 1 to kill, where Corp's dash and slash did the job. So.
And so we actually are going to probably see a difference between Rom's fight and the catch-up fight here and what Corp's going to go for. So we're going to see Corp actually have to do... Oh, he actually went for 3-3, and he does hit. So I take it back. Corp's probably still going to get the fast version of this fight. This dash and slash should change phases. Normally,
I don't think so. He's still 12 strength, so he's going to be short damage, but he's his AP is kind of normalized in a sense from the starting AP.
Oh, okay.
A little unfortunate that Salt goes there. Salt does have an AP of 6, but you see the kid 1 pushes him over.
Right. So I had assumed that with the 3-3 that was the big difference between doing the 2-2-3 at or the 2-2-2 at 12 strength and it not doing it. I thought the 3-3 fixed that, but interesting.
No, it's just to basically not risk that AP roll on Pepper, so that way if you do have like a bad miss, you can generally skip strengthen.
That makes sense, and it also at least gives you the chance of critting.
Exactly. Yeah, a little unfortunate that his Salt went there with 6 AP. It does go, so
Corp did
it's
get
just
some
a minimum.
timely
It's not
hits
unexpected, but yeah.
and not misses, so that really helped out the end of the fight there, though.
Ooh.
So you see here, Rom, he went for the 2 instead of the 3-3. Even if he had missed, if he had thrown a 3-3, he'd at least have gotten the stamina off. And at his strength, he could, his dash and slash would push over because he's effectively 13-12 with the power glove. He only hit a 2-3, so this should be still short damage. But it looks like he also had some pretty unfortunate starting turn with their starting AP. Because Pepper did a strengthen, this fight can be a bit troll. With Pepper going before the revive that Salt does, it pushes along his attack script basically, which is why he saw strengthen, because he's supposed to attack then strengthen. It's just unfortunate that he got to precede that script early.
Yeah, and as Rom is finishing that fight, we actually see Corporate breaking into the manor right now. He's going to come up to this mini game where he's going to feed the Dragoons. In the speed run here, we actually only feed the Dragoons 10 times. That way we can get the key to the front door. There is a chance that the Corporate could go for guard skip, but I do know he was practicing it before the race started. And there are some days where you feel like you're hitting it, and there are some days you don't feel like you're hitting it very consistently. So he might not even go for guard skip.
Yeah, I don't know. He was practicing it just before this started with little success. So,
right.
The fact that he hasn't taken the guard fight yet makes me think that he will still go for it.
Or he's still weighing the options.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
When we talk about weighing the options here is, so if you get guard skip, which is a really hard trick, you do save about a minute. It's a little bit dependent on how, the fight difference, how well the fight could go or how bad the fight could go. But it's not free. It's not like you try it and there's no punishment for trying it. If you fail it, there's a bit of time, like 20 seconds or so, that you end up losing versus just taking the guard fight.
Yeah, and you also hope that you don't kind of fail it more and end up in a position where you're required to take another fight or have to at least run from another fight.
He's not going for it then.
Okay, he's not.
I think that's
No,
smart. I think that's smart.
Yeah,
We
in order
actually
to
see
go
Rom
for it,
take... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, Rom actually just take the fight directly. I was just saying, if you wanted to go for it, you would aggro the guard, outside guard first, and that's how you know they're going for it. If they aggro them and then still move toward the doors.
Yeah. So one of the things and one of the reasons you really kind of want to skip this fight, if you can, besides it one just being generally like faster to skip any fight, is the differences we actually see on screen right now, where there is randomness in the formation you get, where Rom got a good roll and got a 3 enemy encounter, and Corp got a 4 enemy encounter.
Yeah, and this is also where like the strength of your characters also come into play a lot. With not going for guard skip, that's an extra guard fight that you're going to be taking all the time, and that's where your stats, really matter more because you have to get through them even faster. So if Serge is at 13 strength here, he can one round one of those guards.
Oh,
Ooh, wow.
Ooh, that was scary.
That was very scary for Rom. You almost never see that where the spotlight and the guard are like right at the door, because you can get caught trying to open that door. Now, if he had gotten caught, he could have just ran away because he'd already opened the door and it would get him through, but it would have been not ideal. So scary, but he's still okay. But back to the fights. With also an 11 strength kid and the iron dagger, she can do the same thing as a 13 strength Serge in one rounding one of the privates. So now that's not very common because that requires very high strength for both of them or either of them. But if you have it, it can make not going for guard skip a bit more, less impactful.
His corporate entered into the mansion. He turned the thing 0-0. That combination isn't even set yet, so there's no way to get it right, even if you were to guess, quote unquote, correctly. You fall down this hole, and you have to fight these 3 dragoons.
So
Yeah,
if chat would like to guess what the codes are going to be, we'll find out in a little bit, but for each of them it'll be a 2-digit encounter. A 2-digit number, so anywhere from 11 being the fastest code to 99 being slowest.
Oh, nice crit for Corp. Gonna finish that guard off with just Kid.
He must have like a 9 strength or kid. 10.
Yeah, so if you do want to get your guesses in, now is the time, because Corp will be seeing what his code is going to be in literally probably about 30 seconds.
So yeah, Corp is gonna pick up our first accessory that isn't a drop that we're gonna use in the Dragoon's honor. He's gonna talk to Glenn so he can walk away. Then he's gonna go grab this Dragoon's honor, and then he's gonna go grab a revive, which is the only revive that we get in any category of this run that we get. Which, as we saw in the catch-up fight, with Pierre being down, the only way to get him up is through a revive. Now, normally we don't. Normally we shouldn't be falling down and people dying, but there are some very risky fights where your main damage dealer can, if they have low health or defenses, can die, and you need to get them up. So that revive is super important, and lucky that it's right there.
We get a 34 code for Corp. Did anybody guess 34 for Corp? Zan was the closest with the 33.
Zan, but also Nadla guessed 3-5.
King Guff also guessed a 2-4. So very close guesses. Now he's gonna pick up this bronze mail. He might pick up the bronze sword for money. Having taken the guard fight, with it especially being a 4-guard fight, he probably doesn't need the money. It takes about 3 seconds to grab it, so he grabs it just for safety, it looks like, or muscle memory. And he's gonna put on that turn yellow that we grabbed after catch-up, that revive, bronze mail, and the honor that we picked up. And the question that I have is, do you think he's gonna go for the 3-3, a 2-2-3, or a 1-3-3 on these bulb fights?
On the bulb? So, from Corp, I feel like Corp's he swings 3s, I feel like. He could also go, sometimes whenever I'm trying to just normalize the fight, I try to go for like just a 2-3 opening, just to kind of like hope that I land something in the start. But the thing is like, if the enemies are female, and I guess we can touch on that as well, is the gender of the enemies actually does play a factor in their HP value. There is a 10% difference in the HP values between a male enemy and a female enemy. And so if you actually land like a 3-3, and I think, I forget what the strength is, and it crits, you can actually usually stop one of the enemies from going at least.
Rom got a 1-3 for his password. Code.
Yeah, Rom has a pretty good code. I mean, they both have good codes.
They do.
Anything less than a sum of 10 is fast. So. Oh, he did go for the 3s. Oh, is that a female?
Oh. Oh, if she would have hit that other 3, it would have been. I think
Yeah.
even a 2-3 would have killed, honestly.
I think I've noted like a 14 and 11. You can do something like that on a female.
Right.
But, either way, I think you're right though. I think that 3-3 would have done it, which would have been an insane start to this fight. So if he hits these and crits, it should die. But...
Oh
okay.
no, Bush Basher. Just
Yeah.
regular physical attacks.
Yeah, no elements. So then he'll do a 2-2-3 into a. Oh no.
He had more AP he could have played with and refreshed better, I think. That's not gonna. Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna kill regardless.
I thought he was gonna dash and slash once he missed with Serge, but
Yeah, that's what I was expecting too. I don't know if it would have done it though.
yeah,
A little bit.
it would have been close, but it would have let Kid kind of stamp push at the end potentially. But yeah, at first I thought he was gonna do a 2-2-3 into a 2-pause 2-3 for a buffered attack, but good. Fortunately that no elements were done there, even though the bulb
Right.
got 3 turns. And he got a good level up off that. 14 strength and 11. So
Yeah, 14 strength is really nice here. Yeah, but as Corp was mentioning, I mean not Corp, as Carbon was mentioning, it was good that there was no elements done because the elements, not only are they generally slower, but they have the potential to poison, and we don't have antidotes yet. So anytime they hit Surge with a green element, you kind of hold your breath a little bit and hope that he doesn't get poisoned.
yeah, it's really bad when they do those elements because the damage, the poison, and as Rom finished up, it looks like he had a really good fight there.
That was a very good fight.
We turned Surge yellow in that fight. We didn't quite touch on it. It's what we always do. Wow, he has good stats too. 14 and 10
Yeah, I believe
with
they're
the
both
power
at
glove.
14.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
But
Rom
yeah.
has that power glove. But the other thing with them doing an element is because they're green innate and they're doing green elements on you, our field is yellow, blue, yellow at that point. So any elements that's done pushes one of those yellows off, and then the green counteracts the yellow. So when we're getting like a 30% damage boost by having the 2 yellows on the field, as soon as they do an element, we go to nothing. So we're just hitting for basically opposite colors, which is still a good amount of damage, but it's not like the 2x that we were having before between the just using the turn.
Exactly, and as we actually saw on Corp screen, he already kind of did it, but we do see it on Rom screen where he is currently basically interacting with his chest 20 times because kind of a little bit of a secret that it's very fortunate for the speed run. There's a Dragoon Gauntlet sitting in this chest, and that is a +3 strength item for the character you put it on, which really boosts the strength and helps out the strats here.
Yeah, he is having so much power. So Corp is probably one of the only runners left. Way back in the day, we used to do Kid strats on Marcy, this fight that's coming up, because Kid is innate red and Marcy's blue. He's probably one of the only runners that probably still does Kid strats if his Surge is like weaker. So I don't expect him to go for it here, but if his Kid and Surge are equal strength, he'll tend to focus her, even though they should be doing the same damage just because we put the accessories on Surge.
I mean that, and honestly, his strength is pretty good with Surge as well. Like, so he should be putting out a good amount of damage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at this point, I don't expect him to lead with Kid.
Right.
But the strength is almost too high. You if you get a crit, you can over damage on the first turn. So what we're looking for this fight is Marcy has I believe 7 AP, and she has 2 health triggers that we're trying to kind of manipulate. At 249 health, or half of her health, she will do Cat's Cradle, which is a really powerful blue element that can, I mean, in my race yesterday, it did like 81 damage to Kid when she had 97 health. So it really can hurt. And if she's been slapping people throughout the fight and you have bad misses, like someone can easily die before, like on that half health trigger. And then after that, when she hits critical health or 25% HP, where she has about 125 health left, she will throw 2 ice blasts until someone is she'll either throw 2 Ice Blasts or Ice Blast and someone dies. And we are trying to avoid that case. We're trying to avoid that Ice Blast altogether. So on the turn that we hit her into critical health, that's the turn that we want her to Cat's Cradle, and then we want to kill her. So Corp's gonna throw a 3/3. Hope they hit. They did not.
Ooh.
Oof. And a hit. Kid.
It's not terrible because, like, as Carbon was saying, if you they both miss again. But as Carbon was saying, like, Corporate's an experienced enough runner that he knows what he's trying to dance around in terms of HP values. So basically, what he's trying to do is he's just gonna, like, once he knows when Cat's Cradle comes up that he's done a certain amount of health, he's gonna try to make sure that by time he's gonna push Marcy into crit health, it's gonna be on the same turn that he can just burst her down so that she hopefully does not get a turn at all.
Yeah, so that's why he did that 1/2. He was on a turn where you could 3/3 stand push, but that would have done the Cat's Cradle turn. So he did the 1/2. He got slapped, and then he did a 2/2, and now it is 2/2/3. Pushes her into crit, and there's the Cat's Cradle.
Kid does die, but I don't think he's gonna bring her back. Oh,
He is.
Oh?
I don't agree with this.
I don't agree with this either because it's very risky. Okay, so I think he did 1, 2, 3, 4. He's gonna have to do just a 2 dash and slash, or he's gonna dash slash fireball. Okay, I guess.
This is really weird.
It is weird. He has lots of strength, so it should still kill. It's just very. I just don't think it's
slow.
worth.
Yeah, it's because so we're done with Kid after the next fight. So Marcy's dead, and then we fight Lynx, and then we're done with Kid altogether, especially for this category. So, yeah. I mean, he got through it. He didn't see the Ice Blast, so that's the good thing. But I think he wasted time that he didn't need to.
I don't want to question the runner's decisions. So maybe, like, he has something, like, maybe for, like, Lynx or something. But we can actually see in terms of, like, the time difference that we're talking about. Like, Rom started that fight probably 30 seconds after Corporate did, and they're almost even now.
Yeah.
So one of the things he did get out of it is not having to heal her in a menu or keeping her at 1 HP for the guard fight. So it could be some consistency that he's looking for the kind of forced guard fight that we're coming up on. Just think about, like, the reasons that you might want to do that, even if it costs you some time.
And we mentioned it before. Like, one of the biggest things you want to do, especially in a race, is kind of do the things that you're comfortable most with. So maybe he's just comfortable with not having Kid at 1 health here, or having to open up into the menu to heal her, because it does technically save that menu.
Yeah, we actually just saw Rom have to heal out of the menu for some reason. I don't know if he had to, but he chose to. I also saw that Rom got the common Ice Blast drop, where I didn't see Corpse, but I assume that he got that Ice Blast.
I believe they both got it.
So, yeah, I mean, the other thing of having Kid alive after the Marcy fight is that she does get a sat-up chance, and what I think he's probably looking for after that fight is at least the defensiveness, because she was pretty low health on that Marcy fight. So if Lynx kind of targets Kid, we still have a use for her. We need her to get the Pilfer off on the Lynx fight, so maybe he's just hoping to keep her alive a little bit longer.
They both also have really good strength, as we've mentioned, especially Rom with that Power Glove. It's going to make these guard fights actually pretty smooth as long as you can hit. Because at 16 health, you can actually kill the regular, or it's not 16 health, sorry, 16 strength. You actually can kill the regular enemies with the 2/2. If you're a little bit below that, you can kill them with the 2/3. And if you're at 16, you can also dash and slash and immediately kill the sergeants. So Corp must be at 15.
Yeah, I don't believe he got the strength from Marcy for Serge.
Yeah.
We at least got to see Pierre be a hero, though, for half a second, finishing that sergeant off.
Yup. I think Rom is effective 16, 15 with the Power Glove. But it looks like he also just had a 4-guard fight right there, too, so...
Yeah, I just want to touch on, like, this is actually so close for ending the manor.
Yeah. So also one of the things that casually kind of people get tripped up on are these doors, and especially like when you're starting the speed run, there are these doors that have enemies kind of on them. They're door enemies, and we can only enter them when the eyeball is closed, and that was the early close, but you can still make it. So you just have to have the right timing, but they can be kind of troll. Doesn't happen often, but
When I started running, I thought you couldn't be in front of them at all when the eye was open.
yeah. Well, I actually
Oh.
early on I also got caught because like if you hit select or something and you change your whoever's leading right in front of them, they'll catch that and be like, "What's going on?" And you'll get the encounter too. I was like, "What?"
Oh,
Yeah,
that-
that's actually also true. I forgot about that, but I actually have that happen.
That's
Also,
super weird.
coming up is the Lynx fight. It's gonna be the last fight in the manor, and it's gonna have kind of a similar idea to the Marcy fight. If you wanna maybe go into that, Azala.
Yeah, so like Marcy, Lynx has another HP trigger. When he reaches critical health on his next turn, he will use Nostrum, which will heal him in addition to putting a black element on the field, which of course hurts our damage. But the heal really prolongs the fight. And so we're able to avoid this trigger because he has some other built-in responses where if we're able to do an element on the same turn that he goes to critical health, he will respond to the other element and skip the Nostrum trigger. So you'll see, depending on how the fight goes, the runners are either going to try to use Pilfer or Dash and Slash on the turn that he goes into crit, and that'll cause him to respond with either Imbecile or Anti-White and skip the heal.
Yeah, it looks like Corp's gonna do it on this turn. I think I wasn't completely counting, but
Yep, here's
this
the
looks like it.
setup for Pilfer.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried if that crit from Kid that and with corporate strength that if both those 3 hits that he was going to put him in a crit. 'Cause I feel like it's got to be really close
Oof.
here.
Ooh, that
Oh!
was,
Oh,
That crit almost killed him. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. He's like
he's very close.
he's definitely dash and slash killing.
Yeah,
Dash and Slash is gonna overkill by a lot. I'm pretty sure.
especially at his strength. Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine Lynx is probably sitting at like 15 health, and we just did
Yeah.
95 over that.
Yeah.
But it is quick.
He got okayed.
Yeah, that was a very quick Lynx fight.
Yeah, that was good. It looks like he didn't have any major misses, so. Ooh, Rom with also what looks like a good.
Oh wait, they both had
wow,
really
yeah.
good fights. Yeah,
Normally, you don't see Lynx going that well.
especially not for both runners.
Now I don't. Wow, 16 on Rom. He is. They're both smacking right now. Now I didn't see Rom's fight because we were looking at Corpse, but it kind of looks like he pilfered and then dash and slashed as well, which I mean it's fine as long as because the whole point is to skip the Nostrum trigger, but it also using the elements takes 7 stamina from the person who uses it, so it can get weird. So
One thing of note, both of them there got the magic ring steel, which is the standard steel, which you kind of want for Lena's magic a bit later on.
Yeah, that's true. So we actually have been talking about how good the Power Glove was that Rom got early on. It's definitely a different story when you get the Power Glove here instead of the Magic Ring as a steal, just because the Power Glove really early kind of helps with these fights where like strength thresholds really matter. Like a +1 could so if you're at 12 strength for catch up versus 13, it's a difference between potentially being able to do 2-2-2 dash and slash to go into the next phase, or having to do a 2-2-3 go to Kid defend and this and that. Anyways, like getting the Power Glove there instead of the Magic Ring is of different value for sure than getting it early on.
After this point, there's several minutes of plot that's going to go on. The first thing that happens is, of course, you find out you're surrounded, and so you take Riddell kind of hostage, and you try to use that to negotiate your way out of the mess.
yeah, coming back to the accessories for a little bit, like this is not a very common case, but like if you can get so the catch-up fight can also drop a rare magic ring, and you could potentially pilfer a rare power glove as well on top of the power glove that Rom got from the Karsh fight, and then the Lynx steel is either a magic ring being common or the power glove being rare. So technically, you could potentially have 3 power gloves, but you really only want one just because we don't have enough accessory slots to make use of them all. And we already grabbed these Dragoon Gauntlets, the Dragoon Honor, etc. So if you wanted to double up on any of them, you would want it to be a magic ring, just because you can actually make use of it.
That's actually been the secret strat that I've been working on, is routing out getting all 3 power gloves so I can put them on Pierre for the manor.
Never heard that one. That's a good one.
What manner of strategy is that?
Oh, we missed it. We didn't get the build up for the thing that he said. We'll see it for Rom though. It's coming up. It's coming up. Even they're like really close actually.
Yes, that's enough time. The Chrono
Chrono trigger.
Did the thing.
Damn. So both of our this is actually a really important menu that they're both doing. It's a forced menu because there's an important decision coming up, and this is our only time to grab that Iron Dagger or anything that we put on Kid to take it off. At least in the speed run. Casually, you can get all the stuff later, if depending on the choice that you make. But for the speed run, we take the Iron Dagger off of Kid because we need some money, and then we also remove the revive from Pierre. We could technically do it later, but it's just fastest to do it in that force menu.
There are, like, and as Carbon's mentioning, there's some decisions to be made there because a lot of it's just dependent on like money. It is safe to take the Iron Dagger off of Kid and said so you can sell the Iron Dagger. But there's case to be made that with not getting guard skip, and I believe Corporate also had a 4-guard fight, that he could potentially have skipped maybe taking the Iron Dagger off. It's just a tiny bit of a time save. Because he also picked up the Bronze Sword, I believe.
Yeah, he could have done either. Skip the Bronze Sword or skip the grabbing the dagger, especially with the 4-guard fight in the not guard skip. So in terms of money, like when we're talking about money, we're really speaking about a very small situation, which is one that we kind of want, which is first key and accounting for the lowest money encounter that we could get. Otherwise, you're like perfectly fine on money in most cases. So
Corporate and Rom are now mashing through the most melodramatic scene in this entire game. So first of all, Kid is in the hospital. Ooh. The doctor can't do anything. Ooh. What are we gonna do? Ooh. But of course, we end up saying, no, we don't want to do anything because it's a speed run and we don't have time. And then Corcho gets mad and says, how dare you not save her even though you only met her 2 minutes ago?
I don't think he says it quite like that, but yeah, he does prompt us and tell obviously Kid got poisoned in that at the end of the manor because of the dagger that links through, and we basically Corcho takes us to his home, and the doc is trying to save her, but he doesn't have the material that he needs. And casually speaking, this is where I think most people would do what we're not going to do. In the speedrun, we're actually going to just kind of do nothing. We're not going to help her at all. And casually speaking, you would go on this massive side quest to go save Kid, which requires you to go through the Hydra marshes, go extinguish the Hydra, fight some dwarves, and get a fairy in Rasley as your party member. But for the speedrun, that's actually not the one outside of just doing all of that like sequence of events. It's not the fastest, but by saying no to Kid, we also get access to probably the best character for the any % route in Glen. And any Chrono Trigger fans will know that Glen, it's not the same Glen or Frog from Chrono Trigger, but they do have the same name and they share the same dual tech in X Strike. So
one thing
definitely
about
one of
this, that whole side quest thing that you were talking about there. Chrono Cross has a way of evening out star levels. So you might think, well, if I go fight more bosses, maybe I'll get more star levels and maybe help my characters level up that way. But no, Chrono Cross has it so that whichever path you take, you're still going to end up with the same amount of stars, because things that we'll be fighting on the don't save kid path that are stars for us would not have been stars if we did the other bosses in the save kid path. So you don't even benefit from that. That's
Yeah, you end up at the same exact star level no matter what kind of decision you make. So you have the same exact chances for a stat increase, basically. It's just what you have to do to get there. So, but yeah, this is the point where that Doc was talking about, where Corch was like, "What are you gonna do? Take a 1 in a million chance to save this girl that you barely know?" And then we're like, "Wow, that's actually really smart. Yeah, there's nothing we can do." And he's like, and then he gets all upset with us. So, he's like, well, you should have taken that 1 in a million. How dare you?
You know what, Doc? I'm glad you mentioned it, because I was actually going to until you said that.
Yeah, good thing he's not a financial advisor. Corcha, that is. So.
But we do see them getting through the initial part of the big chunk of text in this area. But unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess if you like the Chaws, we have some more coming up where we need to ask Corcha to use his boat, even though he was really pretty mad at us just now for not helping Kid.
actually thought it was a but thou most situation. I thought, I was thinking, well, I have to go up to Corcha and agree to save Kid. I was thinking that you had to save Kid because Corcha's got the only boat. I didn't realize. I thought if you said no down there, you'd have to come up here and say, "Oh, I'll save her," and then you get Corcha's boat. I didn't realize. I was like, "Oh, wait, we don't need Corcha." Yes. I mean, oh.
Yeah, so we're just now just trying to get access to a boat, because Corcha also trapped us on this island, on this little village in our another world. So we still need to go after Lynx and try to get back to our own world.
Yeah, so we're gonna mash through all this text, and then we're gonna do a tiny bit, a little bit more text over in the shrine here in the village, and then we're gonna make our way over to Termina, where we're actually gonna see the biggest shopping and equipping our elemental menu throughout this Lynx 2 race.
One nice thing about this decision to not save Kid here that actually makes it a little bit easier than refusing Kid at the Cape, because I noticed that it's actually the first choices. You can actually mash through that and not save Kid, whereas on the Cape, if you go mashing, you'll tell Kid yes and you'll go. So you actually have to consciously choose the other option. Whereas here, I think you can just mash through, because both the speedrun options are at the top.
Yeah,
it'd be really.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say no. It'd be really crazy if someone accidentally chose the second option here. Whenever all the options you need to choose, you can just mash through.
You never know.
I'm sure no runner has ever done that.
That L3 can slip.
Speaking from experience.
I haven't done it on that menu, but when I first started the L3 mashing, I accidentally almost did 100 Dragoon feeding because of it. So almost. Yeah.
So what other speaking of is recently most people, because Chrono Cross is kind of a lenient game in terms of like RPGs that you can mash through, like FF9, X and Square kind of like alternate really, really well, and you mash through text really, really fast. Chrono Cross kind of renders text a little bit differently, so it doesn't really affect too much. So most people usually just have been mashing really well with X, but it's kind of become like a newer thing, I would say, at least newer for like in general, to mash with 2 buttons at least. And one of those 2 buttons has actually been L3. And the only small problem with L3 is that it is counted as like you can still hit up or down with it when you're trying to click down, and so you can accidentally choose an option that you don't want to choose.
Yeah, so like right there, when Corp is talking to Matcha, she asks if we're ready to leave, and not ready is at the top for whatever reason. The game kind of does this for some strange reason. Probably just to assume, like they have an assumption of, making sure that you're actually prepared to go through story triggers, kind of like make sure you're not missing like characters or something. But for the speed run, it's kind of a pain because you can't mash through it. If you just sit there mashing, you're just gonna be like, "Are you ready? No. Are you ready, kids? No. Are you ready? Aye, aye, Captain."
I'm actually very impressed with how close this race is, to be honest.
We'll see how long that keeps up. We are coming up on one of the biggest RNG sections of the run. So
Before that, we got more plot. More plot in this town. We got to do a shopping trip, a smithy trip, and a Glen scene trip before coming back to Matcha here on the bridge.
Yep.
yeah, the thing I mean, not only just how close this race is, I think what is impressing me more is just how their stats are actually like basically the same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they're
true.
very similar. Of course, we're about to see what they get for their Glenn and Lena, because we will be recruiting Glenn as we leave Termina here.
We will find out how much Lena has gained in the interim, because even this game has a mechanic where every character actually gains a star level with you. So when the star level happens, every character gains it. And the only way for a character not to gain a star level is if they are actively in your party and are dead at the end of the battle. They do not gain the star level. But every other character, whether you've recruited them yet or not, every other possible recruit does gain that star level with you. So Lena actually has been gaining star levels by sitting in the background and just kind of chilling out while we go fight all the enemies. It's kind of a nice way to gain levels, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Rand Gritter in chat has actually chosen violence for the runners by saying, "I'm putting my energy behind Lena has more strength than Glenn."
I think chat may just want to see the return of the legend of
the
Swolina.
Swolina.
Yeah.
I mean, that was so impressive. Something looked weird on Corp's menu. Because he was stuck on the ladle for a second. So like, did he not have the materials or something? Or did I just?
I think he made it. I think he may have just attempted to make it twice, which you won't be able to do.
That makes sense. So actually, so Corp is about to get Glenn. So for anyone, I know we guessed on the code earlier, but if anyone wants to guess on either runner's Glenn's strength or Lena's magic, I believe Glenn can be anywhere between 11 and 20 on his strength, and Lena can be anywhere between, I think, 9 and 16.
Yeah, depending on where they left Lena off, which I don't know if any of us checked.
I wasn't paying attention, to be honest.
Nah, I wasn't paying
Yeah.
attention.
So
I think 14-12 is the average, right? Or 15-12 with 15 being Glenn.
Glenn's average is closer to 15
16.
to 16. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Glenn's average is 15.8, so you would expect 16.
Right.
And I believe Lena is like 12.5.
Honestly, my expectations are lower because I'm not that lucky.
Same. That's why I said 14-12.
I'm just saying, statistically speaking.
No, I believe you on paper. I 100% believe you.
Does it make a bell curve?
It should. Yeah, so if the range is like 11 to 20, the much more common values are going to be in the middle of that, around 16.
We're all holding our breath to see what they're. We don't want to see
Yeah.
like a 10 magically.
we have some kind of mean guesses, I would say.
Well, so even if Rom's Glenn is lower strength, he at least has that power glove to account for 1. So, the fortunate thing is that both of their surges are average or slightly above average. So, it's not going to be the end of the world if they have terrible stats. It's just
I believe that's 14 strength Glenn on Corpse.
I
So-
thought I saw 16, but maybe it was
Oh,
14.
it
No,
may
it's
have been
14.
16.
Ooh.
Well,
Ay, ay, ay.
oh,
12 Glenn.
Well, we know where that
Hey,
power
hey.
glove is going.
Yeah.
So I didn't mention this earlier, but with Rom Surge and that power glove, I might have considered skipping that second blacksmith, and having that 12 strength Glenn like kind of makes me feel validated a little bit
12 magic Lena there.
personally.
Yes, I
Yeah, that
prefer
was 12 magic for corporate.
I do want to mention the starting stats here aren't the end all be all. There is time on the ghost ship coming up to gain stats, especially for like it's important for Glenn to start gaining stats for Mount Pyre, and then it's really important for almost said Marcy, Alina to start gaining magic before she gets into like really Fire Dragon be the first one, but then like mainly the fort.
Yeah. Generally, a solid benchmark is for Lena to be at 15 magic entering Fort Dragonia. And for reference, we have, I believe, 6 star levels between now and the beginning of Fort Dragonia. Arguably 7, depending on whether you count the Dragoon as the beginning or not.
And
We're
I
just
could
doing this
be
menu so fast. Holy crap.
I could be wrong about the numbers on it. Is for Lena to gain a magic, most of the time it's in the 40% area on each star level or around.
Wow, that is not easy what Corp just did.
It should be, I want to say like 45 to 50. It's not, it's because the strength ups are closer to 65%.
Right. For some reason, I was under the assumption that I think that Lena is technically less likely to hit a magic up than to get it, but across like 6 of them, you would assume that she at least hits like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
wouldn't that be a base percent? Because if she misses a star level, doesn't she gain percentage on that for the next
Yes.
one?
But the thing is, in the Chrono Cross, like it does shift a little bit, but it's actually not by much.
Yeah,
Like you have to miss or gain a lot for it to start shifting by a lot.
yeah, especially for magic because it's already like a fairly low maximum value anyway. So it shifts for magic even less than it does for strength.
Yep.
I mean, that actually does kind of link into a good point of when we say it's really good to start off rolling high, because although it does lower your chances of getting your next ones, because it's not by much, it's just almost like a pure benefit to start rolling high in the early game.
Yeah, it's also the thing of like having it early allows you to leverage it early, and then
Right.
if you do somehow fall off, or you're going from like high to like kind of a normal expected thing, so you're just as opposed to having to catch up, and by the time you're catching up, it's already too late, at least for like PB attempts. So
I mean, yeah, that's the other thing is that like there's a lot of times you'll end up at like average strength in game, but it doesn't tell the full story because like the points at what you have like strength are kind of the more important thing. Like if you have good strength throughout, like with Serge throughout the fort where you don't use him very much, and then it drops off by like the dragon section in any percent, or like it's just there are certain points where having certain stats is more important than what it reflects at the end.
Now that said, right, you still want that high strength that early because it gives you that chance to be like really high at that section, as opposed to like, if you're average, you have to get really lucky. It's more like you're getting unlucky like you were getting lucky to be that high and then unlucky to not hit. But
the Corp is entering into the first of 3 fights. This one he can run away from, and I don't know why Fargo has headless armors for his crew, but
It's probably best not to worry about it.
Yeah. So that's the first of 3 fights on the top of this ship that we're going to be doing. The first one we can run away from. Now we can technically run away from all of them, but it's the one that we can run away from and progress the story or the fight. And so now we have to fight Polly, which we're hoping to only see 1 flap. And Corpse Lena is actually really low health, so
she won't survive even if she gets this blue off. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
The idea here normally for a good fight is that you get this Ice Blast off, which puts 3 blues on the field and makes Flap do less damage. And we put the Bronze Mail and the Ivory Helmet on Lena usually. in hopes that she does survive. And but her max HP really matters. Oh, I thought maybe he was gonna. Oh, she's gonna die.
Oof. He had a really high AP. I was hoping that he would do a 2-3. Yeah, there's the death. If she had just 11 more health, which is not unreasonable. So she's just very low health at this point, and
Yeah.
it's important. It is important to revive her here, because one, like we mentioned earlier, you really want her to get stat increases, both in health, defense, and magic. But also, we have a fight coming up right after this, so if she's dead at the end of this, only health increase from her. So
That was not a great level up for Corp there.
Yeah, because she actually does have a duty early on in this next fight. So as Carbon was saying, if you get a low rolled on the first turn here and she's not able to get the turn red off, it can just make this fight, which is usually a pretty standardized fight, relatively speaking, can kind of go a little bit bad.
There's a one.
Ooh,
that hurts. Yeah, so if Lena was at 1 health there and then got hit, obviously this fight just goes completely south. It's not super dangerous, but it's slow. That's actually the second revive we've had to see from Corp, which that's about 20 seconds throughout the entire run. That
ooh.
And a few misses.
So the problem here, right, is that he does get all this the 3/3 off, and he, it kind of resets or regulates his AP here by getting that. The problem is if you swing too much, including with the misses, the strength will actually wear off before you do X strike, which lowers your damage a lot.
Yeah, same with the turn red. I think he's done enough damage to where he can just defend and X strike now, so he should have the bonuses.
He shouldn't swing too much more here. He should be fine still.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, I think he had 4 or 5 AP to work with, but this should kill. And it did. Very nice.
And Rom should be ramping up his fight here as well.
Now that's a good level up. Oh, he also got the rare photon beam, which if he was doing.
Oh, it didn't
80%,
kill
would be
for Rom.
nice.
Ooh. Yeah.
Lena gets.
It's because his Glen is so weak.
He did 321 with his X strike though, which is usually pretty good.
Still not killing?
It looks,
I think something else happened.
Yeah, that's weird.
There
Maybe
it
he
is.
just had bad misses.
Or he did the X strike really early or something. Yeah, I'm not sure because 321 is out. So at a sum 30 does about 300-ish damage from X strike. So he had to be about sum 32 or something. I don't know. I didn't see both of his stats for Glenn and Serge, but that wasn't a bad amount of damage. So it had something else had to have happened there. Coming up though is, as Carbon had mentioned a good bit earlier, is actually going to be what could be the tide turner if you're ROM, or the distance extender if you're corporate, in terms of just pure RNG. If Azala or Carbon.
Yeah,
I love how you
or
avoided saying that it was the key to this run. I just
yeah. So what we're gonna see them do? This is another kind of little mini side quest where we're searching for one of the crewmates who has the key. And there's 3 locations that they're going to be checking, and for each location, we have to fight a battle. And they're routed kind of in order that we lose the least amount of time for fighting the next one, have to go through the fewest screen transitions and stuff like that. But it's randomly placed, so it'll either be in the first, second, or third location that they check, and the time difference between these can be pretty big. So one runner getting a first key with the other runner getting a third key can easily be a swing of about 1 minute in terms of their time, or even more if the fights go poorly.
Oh, I think if it's a difference between first and third, I would actually probably expect closer to a 2-minute gap. It can be rough.
That's true. Yeah, it can be really long.
that also depends on a lot of RNG, your surge strength, what formations you get during those fights.
I mean, yeah, Doc brings up a good point. They both have pretty good surge strengths here, which actually, as long as you don't miss, can you can make these fights go a lot better than if you have really bad strength, obviously.
Yeah, and also, I mean, in addition to just the encounters, is their AP rolls.
That's true.
Can make a really big. There's a lot of factors that can go into just how bad the fights are, even in addition to what key you get. But of course, you know, the later the key value, the better chances you have of things going badly in fights. So not just more of them, but you know, greater risk of enemies low rolling or doing very slow animations.
Yeah. Oh, Rom. Oh, he actually. I'm glad that ghost, the second ghost, didn't start coming to him, because he's gonna fight this.
Fighting this.
I think he is just saying, "I've already gotten to the fight. I'm just gonna take
He
it."
might be worried that he's trapped on the lower corner there.
Right.
He wasn't really in the best position going into this fight, so he may be concerned about that.
It could just be a number of things. Like, this is such a small corridor. I saw the ghost on the left side kind of spawn. It could be just like, you know, just kind of cut your losses.
Is that why he moved from the top left? Because
I think so.
That would make sense.
Yeah. On Corp's screen, he did fight the first key battle, but that guy did not have it, so he's moving on to the second one now.
And any money issues that were ever, they weren't ever going to be any money issues because they sold everything, but any money issues they would have had are all gone now.
Yeah, with having the 4 guards, there was never money concerns.
Yeah.
And honestly,
Definitely
now we wish we had extra things that we could do with it, but not yet. So.
I mean, this actually could like even out slightly if Rom gets first key here.
Yeah, I was going to mention that Corp's movement was very tight in it. I was surprised that he didn't get the encounter, because it was just... Uh-oh. What's he doing here? So it didn't kill.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's just he's included in the strat that Lena is going to be the savior on this at this rank value.
Honestly, the ladle makes a very satisfying bonk sound, so I certainly can't judge.
Okay, second key for Corp. Good.
Yeah, so if he gets first key here with Rom, this is actually going to be crazy close.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
no,
never
mind. Sorry.
Oh no.
He trolled us.
Baited.
He trolled us.
Baited.
Rom, you have to talk to it from the left.
No.
He baited us.
So there's most runners who are most experienced runners who've been running for a while. You kind of know the text box of when it's no. And so we didn't see that text box pop up, and we all got baited.
Yeah. Well, so I also thought, for the longest time, if you talk to him from, I guess, where Rom was standing, or like on the right side of him, he talks to you about that vent, and he's like, "Why you can't go through it? Go through the vent." And but if you talk to him from the left side, he doesn't do that conversation. And plus he was standing still, so.
So they both got second key.
Yep.
And Corporate had a very clean exit.
Yeah.
Very clean exit.
He had a good Frogger as well. Very fast.
With them both getting second key, the only difference here is that Rom was a little bit behind. He's a little bit further behind because he failed Ghost Dance, had to fight that.
Oh, wow.
But this is actually still 100% doable for either one of them.
So I didn't notice this, but Corp is at least down his Fargo split, he's 25 seconds ahead. I believe that's his PV comparison, and he did grab that photon beam, so he might be considering going any percent.
Oh, you talking about Corp, sorry, or Rom?
Corp.
Okay, Corp.
And he because now he has 2 photon beams. That chest he didn't have to grab, but it's one of the few chests that you can actually grab it and still move afterwards. So good Frogger as well from Rom. So.
Yeah, so what Carbon is actually mentioning is, we mentioned, I think, like way early in the run, that basically Lynx 2% is essentially just a truncated version of the full 80%. Rom actually didn't grab the chest. That is one of the few things, like there are 2 main things I think that I can think of that you really would do differently if you were 100% committing to just doing Lynx 2 and it's just slightly faster. And that's not picking up that chest that has the photon beam in it, which you would need later in the 80%, and then also not buying Diminish. Coming up after this fight here. I think those are the only 2 I can really think of, unless you guys have other ones that I'm not thinking of.
It ties into the Diminish, but you probably would not, like, if you were gonna not buy the Diminish, you would probably not grab the Bronze Mail, Bronze Sword.
Oh, true, right.
But outside of that, I mean, that's it. So, but yeah, Rom chose not to grab that photon beam, and like I said, it's not a big difference because it's pretty free to pick up since you can grab it and run. So.
It's probably literally less than a second.
Yeah, it's
sure.
So Corpse on the Deadhead fight, which the way that it starts. Ooh, okay, so he's going for the 1/1 there into this Eagle Eye. So I don't think he exactly has the stats for it, but if he gets a crit, he might do a turn white. But this is one of the few cases where he where we in the run use Cure Plus on the enemy, and it'll actually do damage. And one of the things that the Deadhead did earlier was a Diminish, which normally reduces the damage of damaging elements by half, but because technically cures and healing elements are not damaging, it doesn't impact the damage that we end up doing, because it's still technically a healing element, it just does damage to this enemy type.
Yeah, and as we see Rom actually starting the phase here as well, something I want to touch on the beginning is this is really where we're going to see the first, well, no, we did see do it in Fargo as well, but where we start using buff elements like Eagle Eye and Strengthen a lot. And you actually see that they both have Eagle Eye -3 and Strengthen -3, and that's because we put them on level 1. And actually, in Chrono Cross, one of the neat things that we take advantage of in the speedrun is the fact that debuffs and buffs are not like damaging spells like Cure Plus and those. They don't actually receive any kind of decrease in value at all in any kind of way by putting them on level 1. So it is just pure benefit because we can get to them faster.
Looks like Corp had a good level up as well. Good fight. I wonder if Rom is going to kill on this just because his Gwen is so weak, but he probably should.
I think he should, just because his Surge is really good.
Yeah, it looks like it's only doing like a difference of now he's not killing.
Okay, so this is not a dangerous fight when we say it just means he's going to see another turn.
Nice crit. Wow.
Well, never mind, maybe.
That crit helped a lot.
Hey, just crit for him.
Just crit. Just crit. Who needs to do the fight properly? Just crit.
Yeah, so clearly the cure was actually manip for the crit, which is an interesting strategy.
Oh my god,
he's been hiding that strat from us.
Yeah.
Good save. I because of that crit, I didn't see the purchase, but I assume that Corp bought everything.
I think
being the magnifying
I believe that he did.
So we'll see if Rom does the same.
I will give a preemptive to all of chat to prepare your W's. Give you plenty of time to load them up into chat.
Prepare the dubs. Yeah, this is gonna be our final, especially for Lynx 2%. This is gonna be our final encounter with Salt and Pepper, and it'll be another tutorial-esque fight. Yep, Rom just buying the Magnify, and he has like just under 2,800 money, which that's so much.
Guard in chat actually mentions that Serge, I'm assuming on Corp's side, has 16 magic.
That's a lot
already.
That is a lot.
I don't think he'll go for it, but that his Lena being 13, he could, on average, he could go for the level 6 Spark Prince stuff, but he probably won't. But yeah, that Surge magic is real nice. Here comes the dubs.
Here comes the dubs.
Alright, so this is our last Salt and Pepper tutorial. This one is about trap elements. And we're going to see these guys mess it up again, as always. Salt is going to throw a trap element. So here we go, he's going to throw the Salt trap element for where you can get powerful elements by trapping elements from your enemies. So he throws a trap element out there, and then Pepper casts his big element black hole, and it gets trapped. But the thing about trap elements is you get the element in your inventory, it's not in your slots, so you actually have to wait till after the battle, then equip it, and then you can actually use it. So Pepper's had enough of it. He's had enough of it. All these mistakes, he keeps making them. And he goes, woof, 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 woof.
So just a quick call out. There's actually quite a big difference in the menu times of ROM and Corp. Corp just being a bit more efficient in his. Part of it's kind of because ROM is doing kind of some Lynx 2 optimizations in a sense, not being able to like fast equip diminishes and stuff, and some of that time just adds up. So
Yeah, it is a good point to make. It's not necessarily a call out at ROM, but it is a good point to make out that menus do matter.
yeah, it's just sorry, I was just noticing a difference between how they were doing.
Oh
it.
no, for sure. Yeah, it's a good point to like that. A lot of people would think, like, especially in Chrono Cross, it's a boss rush type speed run, but like menuing is like a hidden boss.
Yeah, and the menus are not easy because they're like pretty laggy, and like a couple missed inputs can cost quite a bit of time. But
Right.
ROM coming in with the dubs as well,
Yeah.
and
It's often very easy to overlook, especially while you're running, exactly how much time your menus are eating up too.
did
What's
We have
Corp
more
get a
dubs?
crit or something? Wow? How is he short damage there? What happened? That's weird.
It is good to mention as well. So there is like a little bit of a small change you can make in terms of like equipment depending on stats here. ROM opted not to put the honor on Glenn apparently, even with Glenn being very weak.
Yeah, actually, this is where their differences in Glenn's are gonna come into play. Corp seemed to have, I mean, his fight was slower than normal, what you'd expect, and that looks like it's because it's a 16 Glenn. Normally, you want a 17 with the weapons that you can have, or the accessories being the honor and the gauntlet, and that almost ensures that you can kill both of them on his 3/3s. So it looks like he was just shy, but Ram is going to be even more shy of that because his Glenn is far weaker.
Someone else can explain the fire dragon coming up because I'm not gonna say the thing because every time I do, I'm not taking the heat for this for this one.
Yeah,
I
so
think
I'll
we
take
give
the
the heat. Oh, I was gonna say we give the heat to Carbon.
All right, fine. So, Fire Dragon has one of the lowest APs that we're gonna have in the fights, being 6, and he also has really high health and really high defense and does a lot of damage. So what we're hoping to do is have Serge do a 1 into an Eagle Eye on Glenn, and then we're really hoping that Glenn can just attack right after. It's really unfortunate if Fire Dragon goes after that, after the Eagle Eye, and you don't get to do a 3/3 with Glenn, because it's like an extra 100 damage that you're able to get off, and it really speeds up the fight. So, hoping.
Okay, nice. It didn't happen because I was being persecuted in chat for my thought crimes apparently because I thought it.
Are you ahead of me? I might have to refresh.
Oh, maybe I am a little bit.
I'm just gonna look at Corpse Team. So
Oh,
right now he's already. Well, I missed it.
Sorry, Rom got the Dragoon Gauntlet drop.
Ah, good for Ron.
That's gonna actually help his Glenn. a lot.
Yeah, that'll put him even with the Corpse Glen ish. So Corpse coming up and he's doing his turn blue. He did his Aqua Beam. So what he's doing is getting rid of a red on the field and setting up extra damage on Glenn being blue and putting 2 blues. So this Fiery Breath, even if it targets Lena, she should survive. And she does with 29 health. Not a lot, but she does survive. So I'm hoping he heals her. He's not going to, so he's just going to go for the Ice Blast. Probably do an Aqua Ball with Serge after. He's going to hit with Glenn and then probably do an Aqua Ball.
Yeah, you just gotta hope that Lena doesn't get targeted here.
Yeah.
And
Okay, good.
she didn't. Nice. Okay.
Good target. Yeah, I personally would have either healed or defended with her, just for the safety, because now he also has to dodge another attack on Lena, so it can get a little scary if he doesn't kill.
Yeah, because I think like, if I'm not mistaken, I believe even with the field like how it is, I think that a regular attack from the Fire Dragon does like 34 or so, 35 to Lena.
Yeah, I've seen upwards
Yeah.
of like 50 or 60 if you're not defended.
She's definitely still in danger,
Yeah.
even with the field.
Fortunately, Fire Dragon's not hitting her, but he is trying to kill on these attacks, and he's risking misses. And
Uh-oh.
if Glenn had hit that,
Fiery Breath is coming. And I think that is at Lena.
yeah. Oof.
Ooh, that is the risk. However, I will say I don't remember how much Cure Plus 1 or whatever, or Cure Plus would heal her. I think that if with those misses, she probably would have died regardless.
Wow. So he was really close to killing. I'm surprised that he didn't revive this time.
I think he may have tried to, but didn't expect Glenn to kill there.
Maybe because she's only at 13, which if you're hoping Rom catches up here, you're actually hoping. Oh, never mind. I looked over and saw Rom's Lena get melted as well.
So this is the case because he didn't. I didn't see Rom's thing because I was looking at Corpse stream, but because he didn't have that extra blue on the field and there was a red, his Lena just got yeeted. If that's why it's really important that we get that turn blue and that aqua beam off, just to reduce the damage that fiery breath does. So
yeah, we're actually seeing on Rom's screen the meanness that we were saying that could happen from Fire Dragon and Corpse fight.
He's going he's going very early on this. This is
maybe he just wants to get the Ice Blast off in case Lena does die again.
It's going to be really risky having the Magnify out if he makes it to another Fiery Breath.
The thing is, he's also not going to get a good stam refresh off this. He'll get like 3 maybe.
Oh my! So that is unfortunate. Like Rom, like we could like talk about like maybe there's better ways to go about when to do the Magnifying Genius, but
a triple target is just
yeah.
Well, oh wow!
I'm
very surprised he killed.
Sometimes it's just like it's easy like for like to watch somebody play and be like, okay, this is the right thing to do. But like when you're running in the moment and like you're especially like Fire Dragon or something like that, where like you're just getting picked on, it's just kind of like sometimes you go into panic mode.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, right, also is that like if he heals, right, like say Fire Dragon doesn't perma target Lena, like he's fine, right? Like so, to be fair, like if he does Cure Plus, he's then spending some time and wasting some, element levels that he's built up. So, yeah. It's just that, that happens to you too many times, and you're like, I'm never letting it happen again.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that there are better, like objectively, probably better plays he could have done. I just wanted to touch on the fact that, like,
it's
overall, the big thing is just that Fire Dragon was me.
Yeah. I mean, also, like, during a run, it's sometimes more important to make a decision quickly than to make the most optimal decision, because you're definitely wasting a lot of time at any moment that you spend doing nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you spend like 5-6 seconds like hesitating before you decide to do that or to skip the Cure Plus, you might as well have already done the Cure Plus. Like it's
exactly.
Yeah, or done whatever you were debating for sure.
Right.
Sorry, not trying to be too critical. Just that fight is so dangerous.
No, I think it's a good point to go into. Yeah.
And speaking of dangerous, we've been still sitting on that Fire Dragon because it was intense and what happened, but they're both on the 3 divas right now, which is just this fight is just so troll sometimes because you can get misses. You have to deal with 3 enemies, and it looks like Corp has been getting through it pretty reasonably. Oh, is his Zoa still up?
The big thing actually is we didn't really touch on it, but that Dragoon Gauntlet actually probably helped Rom a lot by killing Marcia with the X-Strike. I don't know if he would have beforehand.
Yeah. Is Rom actually doing the Strengthen? Because I thought in past he was doing Turn Red.
I actually didn't see, to be honest.
There have been some... Well, he's magnifying now, so I think he did the Turn Red. Which, if that's the case, then that Dragoon Gauntlet really is impactful.
Corpse Lena is still at 13 from what Chad is saying. I missed that as well.
Yeah, she did miss the opportunities to stat up here, so that's going to be a little probably annoying for Corp.
I mean, if you're a Rom, if you're cheering for Rom here, that's actually kind of a good thing for potential catch-up if his Lena is good.
Did he Eagle Eye his Swole Lena?
Actually, maybe.
I don't know. I saw 99.
No. It's on Glenn.
Okay. I don't know why. My stream, my view is lagging. I just saw 99.
Mine was too for a little bit there. So, they're actually okay. So his Lena's not that much better than Corpse.
Yeah, his Glenn is actually 17 ROMs with that gauntlet and the power gloves. So, for how low he got him, 17 is, I mean, it's still low, but it's not awful. And then that gauntlet is gonna help later.
I guess I missed it. Zan saying that Rom's Lena is 14 with 2 rings. I guess he got the ring from Fire Dragon?
I thought he got the ring from KSP. I'm sorry. The catch-up salt pepper.
Oh, maybe. So I guess I actually didn't see that.
Wow, if that's true, I mean, to have 2 rings, it's extremely rare. So, and then to get the gauntlet and that power glove, like, that's it's very fortunate, like, rare drop luck, because those are honestly the ones that you would want in the spots that you would want them. So.
Yeah, so we actually could see. I mean, there's still so much to go on in this fort, but we could actually see Rom maybe start pulling a little bit back in terms of time if he has a better Lena.
Oh wow, and I feel like Corp would have definitely killed this boss here if it wasn't for the Lena stats.
Yeah.
Rom also got low rolled on the starting turn of the Dragoon fight, so no skipping Acacia Breath or whatever it's called in for his fight either.
Oh wow. Wait, was that the? Man, it's hard to watch both of them, but
it is very hard to kind of like keep up with stats and everything for both runners.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially when they're this close.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like one starts the fight when one is just leaving it. So, yeah.
I mean, as Carbon mentioned earlier, there's times whenever I'm doing my own run and I'm like, chat, what was that? What was the value here? But now I'm trying to keep up with both of them.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised at that Dragoon though, because Corp's Serge has such high magic. I know it's like not as impactful as Lena having better magic. Obviously, you'd rather Lena have the 16 and Serge have the 13, but
right.
Yeah, a little surprised because his damage still is quite impactful.
Yeah, he got the level 4 Aqua Ball Surge and it did over 250 damage there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Was hoping that would make up for, because the other thing that Corp did that was really nice is that because he knew his Lena was so low magic, he set up a full blue field before ice blasting, so that way it got the maximum bonus that he could. And it's just when it wasn't enough, that's just unfortunate, because normally that would do it. So, but from that Dragoon fight, which casually speaking. When we pick up Glenn, he tells us to kind of go see Radius on a remote island, and then you go through this like water dragon side quest that freezes the lava that we had gone through to get to this point. And that water dragon also gives us the Frog Prince summon that we just got off that Dragoon. So in terms of routing, we're not like missing anything, and the devs just decided, hey, take this Dragoon fight, and here's the summon you need.
Yeah, and that Frog Prince is actually, I'm sorry if you mentioned that already and I missed it, but that Frog Prince is actually going to be very useful for like almost all the upcoming fights until the last 2 in the fort here.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important that we have Lena, because the summon is a blue element, and it requires that the field effect be completely blue, and that the user also is blue innate. So Lena being a magic user, being blue innate, it's so important. Now, there's a couple other options that we have, but Lena's just the best and easiest. So
yeah, and this also goes into the reason why you want Lena to be 15 magic at the beginning of the fort, because we're gonna have like another shift in kind of battle strategy here, where the next few fights are essentially going to be setting up for Lena to be able to do Frog Prince, and ideally, if you meet all of the correct stat lines, the Frog Prince should kill all of the bosses.
Yeah, so like the main things that they're going to be watching for in terms of like RNG, in terms of what's a good fight versus the bad fight, besides like as I was mentioning was the stats, is the AP values of the bosses, and obviously like we're going to try to buff up Lena using Genius and then magnifying the field, and then the idea is to basically fill the entire field blue and get off Frog Prince within the AP value so that we don't get inhibited by the boss at all. The one exception to that is actually going to be the first one we're coming up to, which is Giant Gloop, who is a blue innate, thus uses blue elements. So it's very not punishing if you let him go and interrupt you whenever the field is blue.
One thing that can really hurt on some of these fights is inopportune. I mean, misses always suck, but it's going to be really possible in some of these fights to get a miss at a very bad time, and that can kind of put you in a weird state that you have to recover from, where you're trying to build up element levels and set everything up so that you're able to get that blue field out before the summon. And yeah, poorly timed misses can require you to really have to think on your feet a lot.
Right, because like the worst possible thing that can happen and has happened is you've already committed to using most of your blue elements. You fill the field blue, and then because you were like a little bit short because of a miss or something, you don't get frog prints off, and then because of how Chrono Cross elements work, you can't reuse them. You don't have the blues to fill the field anymore, and you have to end up running.
Yeah. One of the hardest things about learning the like frog print strategies is kind of knowing like when you should not expend your elements, which, yeah, it's hard. It takes a lot of experience and quite some failure sometimes. But
Yeah, you gotta start thinking, a turn or two in advance sometimes, and how your setup's gonna play out.
I mean, that's why most tutorials, like since like the beginning of like Chrono Cross speedruns, have said beginners should practice Taurusoid as one of their fights. To learn.
Yeah. And so Corporate is starting his giant gloop fight, where this is one of the most forgiving. It is the most forgiving setup-wise for frog prints, because if you go long enough in the fight, it'll just do a full blue field. It also, if the field is fully blue on the turn that it would blue field, it'll also just heal you all. If you were like,
is that the trigger?
I think that turn blue may have been a mistake.
Oh, did he just do a turn blue?
Yeah, he did a turn blue on gloop after doing the turn red. And I don't think that he used Magnify yet either, even though he built Cleanse Element level for it.
Yeah, I don't.
We'll definitely know by. Go ahead.
Yeah, he is definitely not magnified, and I don't believe he did a Genius on Lena either. So, I'm.
No, he didn't. I think he was trying to do the Genius when he did the turn blue.
I will definitely see it in terms of reflected in how much damage this Frog Prince is gonna do.
I don't think he's gonna use it. This is really weird.
Does he have all the other? What is
he? I'm very confused.
I'm so confused. We actually could see Rom overtake Corporate here. This is gonna be a big turn of events.
So I think he's doing that Aqua Beam because he just wants like a little extra damage, and I think he's accepting that he's not going to be able to magnify, because he's just run out of blues.
Yeah.
He's gonna miss a lot of damage though. So. Oh, and the turn red is worn off as well. This is not going to do.
Well, the turn red got canceled.
That's right.
Turn blue.
Right.
This should at most do 300. Normally it does like 400 at low stats and 5 to 6. This is going to be very slow. He's already invested a lot, but he's not even at half health. I think he has to run and just retry the fight.
Yeah, and this is kind of one of those problems, like where as a runner, like especially as an experienced runner, you try to fix something instead of running it because you're like, I know how to like fix this, but sometimes it's unfixable and you invest all the time trying to fix it and then run, and it's just worse than if you just ran from the start.
Yeah, he just has so much damage that he has to get through right now, and he's not even close.
Yeah, I would be super surprised if Rom doesn't actually take a decent lead here.
Yeah. So the other thing is, we almost never see this, but Gloop's next turn is he's going to do, I believe it's a Deluge, which is a blue element that hits everybody, and I believe it has a chance to give people the flu, if not freeze them. So
see, that's a normal roll. Rom's got 537 on Frog Prince, and it's over. Yeah, he's already ahead.
Yeah. So Rom had
we have a new leader.
Yeah, that's not even just like the stat line. That's just.
Why is he doing gash and gash? That does nothing, and it's a green element. Oh my god!
I mean,
right
now he's just trying to throw whatever he can.
Exactly.
I don't want to he's in a bad situation. Like he's just trying to do whatever he can to get out of it. Like it's very easy to judge like what is he doing in these after part. Like maybe it's like one thing to be like, you know, what was he doing in the beginning? He should have fixed it or whatever, or like ran. But like right now, he's already invested, like Carbon said, so much time. You're just running
He's
now.
just trying to get through it. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, especially because he should be close to killing him anyway. Yeah.
See. Yeah, he it's very easy, like I think, to like make judgments there as like especially like, you know, for runners or whatever. But sometimes you're just like throwing everything at like and the sink at the boss. Just please die. Like,
yeah, I will say he's definitely happy that he had that Aqua Ball level 2 and the Aqua Ball level 4 and the Bush Basher level 4. But yeah, that didn't go to code, and he, like Candy was saying, he tried to make it work, and sometimes it just doesn't work. I mean, he got through the fight, so unfortunately it's not like a super dangerous fight. It's just slow. So that's all.
I also do want to mention, this is definitely not over. It gave Rom the lead, but there's still so
absolutely.
much.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I thought he was still going to try to go for Frog Prince there, and I guess he just actually given up on Frog Prince. And
He had already done.
He used it.
Yeah. So there is just like kind of reflectively like thinking, because the other thing that he could have considered doing was actually magnifying and resetting the blue field. It looks like he had potentially enough blues, but it's okay. You know, nerves kind of.
He may not have realized at that point that he hadn't done it either. So that's another thing.
Yeah. I mean, and also, to be honest, like watching it, I was like, oh, what's going on? But if I was in that moment and I realized that I had already kind of messed up, I probably would have done the same thing and be like, I don't know what to do here.
Oh,
like,
yeah. I think everyone who has run this game at, you know, a high level can totally relate to that situation where it's like you think you've done the strategy right, you realize like 2 turns later that you've, you know, made a mistake.
Missed something.
Yeah.
And honestly, like the more familiar you are with the strategy, the more likely you are to skip things, because it's so easy to just get a turn or 2 ahead in your head.
Yeah, and then and it's really hard just mentally. And Corp actually is one of the best runners at keeping a strong mental state. Even through this, like, I mean, just looking at him, like his camera, he's chill as a cucumber. So, which is completely impressive, because I mean that's what it takes to get really good at this game, right? It's like once you start making a mistake, you know, not letting it get to you, and just kind of going with it. You know, you're in this spot. How do you know, what's the next thing you're gonna do?
Yep.
So.
I mean, you definitely don't want to bring that baggage into the Taurusoid fight.
Definitely not.
you want to be like able to think clearly on what you want to do in the Taurusoid fight.
I'm sure none of us know what that would be like at all. So.
Yeah, I've never tilted in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, and really good dodge from Corp there. That little Z wall can be tricky, so this is a very good dodge from him.
I don't know if Rom does the cure strat here, but luckily Lena didn't get targeted, so it worked out.
Yeah, and I know we've been a little critical, right? It's easier for us just watching and not having to make the decisions. So.
Yeah.
And heck, sometimes we're even wrong. So.
And yeah, I mean, honestly, they're both in the same fight still, so it's not like you know, it's like he threw, like, this is not over. Who does good targeting for corporate. Glenn is the one character you don't have to worry about whether or not he gets targeted twice and dies, seeing as they're both green, and it does less to Glenn.
Actually, that's really smart of Rom to I mean, that's a bad. He might be in trouble. He does not have a lot of AP to work with here, and Glenn missing 290% is
He could do a turn blue. I think I think that is the right call. That he doesn't have to walk up and do another one with Glenn, use another extra AP, especially when it's this tight, and then he should just immediately go into Frog Prince. Good call.
Yeah,
I actually really like that call.
Very good call there.
I think that's with the normal fight, I think you only can like afford 3 misses. So if you're gonna get the minimum of 11, so unfortunate misses, but yeah, Rom handled that well.
I really like seeing that. That is like one of those things where it's like, okay, you have the strats in front of you, and people are like, when you're new, you're like, okay, I followed the strats and this didn't work, or this or that. But that's one of those scenarios where like things go off track.
Corp just had 3 misses in a row on Serge, so this is going to be a little
I think
risky.
I think he's still okay. Like I said, you have 3 at bare minimum, so as long as Lena doesn't miss, he shouldn't have to risk a high AP, which recent
Also-
light, it's very likely that he gets a high AP, but
That's what I'm saying. Like, also, like with kind of the information that we've kind of came up with in the last week, knowing, more about like the AP system, you have a higher chance of getting a higher AP than what we have listed. Does 922 that should kill?
awesome. Good fight for both of them. Able to get through it. So they have one more puzzle section. They've been going through all these pillars. They have just a red pillar. It's an easy puzzle once you know the gambit to it. Corpse Lena is 15 magic, unfortunately. So he should be okay to do the normal fight, as long as he gets a little extra chip damage in.
I also think that like it can come up to, if you don't have to rely on chip, I believe at 15 it comes up to like a damage roll on Frog Prince.
It might, even with chip. The damage roll still might matter, but in most scenarios, it's fine.
I just have 16 as like for sure, and 15 I have as I'm going for it and hoping, like praying.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. So you because it's like you can't really afford to miss anything. You're hoping that you have just enough like poke damage. And for those, we haven't quite expressed it, but after this red pillar, we're gonna get onto the white pillar, which is an elevator, and it's guarded by this enemy son of a gun, which looks exactly like a sun, and it has some really creepy faces. So in past races, we've kind of been cautioning people who may or may not like want to be creeped out to just come back later. But
I like the disclaimer. Corp would be proud.
Corp would be proud.
Yeah.
But they're both going to come up on this fight. Rom first, and the thing is, it does a move called Kissy Wissy, which is very slow, and our entire goal is to just skip that, just because the element, like it does the Kissy element, and then it changes its face, and it's like 30 seconds long. And then it also has a chance to put someone to sleep, which is one of the reasons why we grabbed the Panaceas from the ghost shit that we did. And if you have to use those, that's another 10 seconds. So, like, it's just time loss that we're really hoping to avoid. So, what Rom is going to do, well, at least what I think he's going to do, is he's going to have Serge run up to a 1-1, and then he's going to his Lena throw a 3-3 or a 3-2, depending. So that way she gets up to level 5 on her element grid. And that sets us up perfectly to then just set up the field for Frog Prince, and if Lena has enough magic, to kill the son of a gun.
First thing he's going to need is get past this AP check, which he does. Okay. And then the threes do hit.
Awesome.
We
so
did say that Rom is at enough magic, right? I don't know. I forget if he was at 16. Okay.
Yeah,
he should be with 2 magic rings.
Yeah, he definitely has enough magic. And he didn't miss, and he got the AP. So it's really good for Rom. A bit unfortunate for Corp, because that's one of the big time places that he could kind of cover this gap. And what you notice here is that he had Serge and Glenn turn blue on Son of a Gun, and the way that it works is kind of like what happened on Corp, where he did a turn red on Gloop and then a turn blue accidentally. They basically counteract each other, so you turn it blue and then you unturn it blue, essentially. So oof. So
yeah,
Corp with the
382 is
unfortunate.
so much.
Yeah, Corp unfortunately missed on his Surge and got 2 rolled, so he's gonna hit for 5, get Lena to level 5, and then he's gonna have Glenn do a 2-2, most likely. Might do a 1-1-2, but
Yeah, I think 1-1-2 is what at least my notes have, but I can imagine seeing 2-2 for extra chip and.
well, I think he had to do a 2-2 because he had to run up with Surge again.
Okay. I see.
So Lena's getting kissed here, which is not the target you want to see, because now he has to do the Panacea. So Son of a Gun also has four faces, and 2 of those faces it does a physical attack, and the other 2 it does an element. So if he can go off here, which he should be able to, but he's deciding to defend everyone, which is a smart and safe play, just to make sure that nothing goes wrong. But he should be able to set the field blue now, even though it's a little bit slower. He still might be short damage, so he should really get as much chip damage as he can here. electing to do an Aqua Beam with Lena, so that way Glenn can get a little extra chip. The thing is, he's going to have to attack with Lena again, and hope she doesn't miss. Did he...
He has done a little bit of extra chip in terms of physical, just because of the fight going on a little bit, like extra turns, and if you do it all in one turn. However, these Aqua Beams you see are always, I think, always only going to do one. And
Yeah.
we were already talking about the damage.
No.
Oh, no.
I think that was an overmash.
It was. That was very... So now he's got to set the field blue again. Uh-oh. He might just run.
Yeah, he might have to. And, like, I do want to touch on again, like, this is not in a bubble. Like, it's sometimes hard to, like, get mentally back on track, and you can end up making more mistakes after you've had, like, one bad thing happen.
Yeah, it's hard to say exactly. There's the run, which at that point, yeah, it's
You have
it's
to.
hard. I don't know what he does after that meteor shower. I think it's a holy light.
I think it is Holy Light.
It depends on the mode,
Oh, okay.
because he did do a mode change there.
Yeah.
Usually you don't ever see that, and you should hopefully never see that, but there are things that can happen. The Holy Light, that is, not meteor shower. Sometimes meteor shower can happen, but...
Yeah, so he's going to try again.
Got the AP.
And the hits. So he's going for a 2-3. That's a
Oh.
little... Ooh. So really
That
you want to
is-
go for a 3 and then decide whether you hit or miss, because you really need Lena to be at 3 here if you wanted to go off. So the fact that he's only at 2, it looks like he's going for it. He's going to have to risk a high AP and no misses for this to work. Because Lena's now going to have to hit for 3, and he's already done 2. Well, actually, sorry, he's already done 3 because he had Glenn. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Now he'd have to... Yeah, he's running.
Ooh.
He realizes it.
Yeah, so it's definitely... Rom definitely has a giant lead right now, and we're kind of focusing on that, like, I guess, while Rom is going through this Aqua Beam, because the story is, like, right now is whether or not he's struggling to get through Son of a Gun, which happens. But it is very hard. Like, sometimes CC just is not happening on a certain day.
Yeah, and this guy especially is, well, he's not the favorite boss fight among the people that run this game.
Right.
So, looking at Rom, it looks like Corp is finally set up. He can do exactly what Rom did, and actually just go and be fine. Rom is on phase 2 of the Bunyip fight. I believe it looks like he's running level 5, but it also looks like he just got 0 rolled on the phase change. So, not sure if he's going to be able to get Frog Prince off.
This is a good testament to, like, just how things can go badly, because, like, it is a little bit of a task, you know, like, to get the field, like, fully blue, and then also have Lena be geniused and magnified, have everything come together to ultimately try to kill, you know, or do, like, a good chunk of damage. And it's just like, when it goes smoothly, and you see a speedrunner do it and it goes smoothly, you're like, yeah, it looks really easy. But whenever things go badly, like, that's when you start seeing, like, oh, so they've been trying to, like, duct tape this all together to make it work.
Yeah, we're trying to throw a rocket ship into space.
Yeah.
So there, yeah, it looks like Rom got the Frog Prince off, but definitely short damage, so he's seeing this Gravitone. His next thing is he's going to try to I think he's going to set up to have Serge do a Luminaire, and that should just end the fight. But he has to get his stamina back and build up some element levels. It's possible that he can kill just on chip, but unlikely.
Also, I do want to mention, Corp did finally get through Son of a Gun, so claps to Corp for that.
Oh, is he going to see free fall?
We talking about
He
Rom?
was- Yeah, Rom, sorry. He was he had a bad miss with Serge, and he's kind of like defend stamina and just kind of pushing along, and almost went to Bunyip's next turn, which would have been a free fall.
I do also kind of want to mention that, like, with all the craziness that's happened in this run, like, you can tell these both are experienced runners, because, like, this is still not like in terms of relatively, this is not that crazy of a gap.
Yeah, this should still rank as one of the closer runs in the tournament.
I did not see Rom's Glenn strength, but Guard says that he did get a +2 in chat, and he does have the gauntlet. so that's also something to keep in mind. So that is actually going to come into play in the next 2 fights because we're effectively done with Lena being the carry if you're Rom. And Glenn and Serge's strength are really going to matter. Glenn, particularly for the next coming up fight, being Viper.
Yep, Rom just has to get through the section that caught him in the dream sequence.
Yeah, he
with
had a bit of a
bats
redemption
inside.
arc.
Yeah, a little bit. Oh, Corp
Good
having
dodge.
some bat troubles.
Corp had a repeat of the Cybot there in his
Little bit.
dream sequence as
So,
well.
Corp is generally really good at dodging this Dragoon, which okay, he didn't even have to do the juke,
The
but
setup.
yeah, that's I saw that Rom did get the Dragoon counter right there, but fortunately for Corp, it was just on the outside and he could pass right by. So that's a little time save right there.
Yeah.
Um,
In chat, Zan also brings up a very good point, in that both of them are still on track to get like extremely good times with everything.
Good AP start for Corp on phase 1 of Bunyip.
Yep. Actually, I didn't see his Lena's magic, but I am.
Corp?
I
It's
am.
15.
Okay. I'm less concerned now.
Yeah, and he has the Ice Blast, so you're usually pretty good if you have the Ice Blast, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just concerned for his Luminaire killing because he's most
Yeah.
certainly going to Luminaire on phase 2, but I know his Surge is quite high on magic, but
I wonder if he could actually, well, no, not with 15, never mind. I was going to say, I wonder if with a high magic Surge he could do Bush Pressure Kill, but since his Lena's going to be doing less magic with Frog Prince, he's probably still going to need a Luminaire.
yeah, that was my thought. Excuse me, but he got the
he
phase
may
change.
actually do a level 4 Aqua Ball in the setup.
Oh, that's true.
He's not doing level 6, so I don't know why he would. Because then you can't really Luminaire to potentially
make
skip
it
Graviton.
More awkward for sure.
But Ram is on the second to last fight in Viper. He's strengthening Glenn, and we didn't see his Glenn strength, but if his Glenn is strong enough and he gets a good enough AP, he can potentially skip one of Viper's turns in G-Force, which is a nice time save. With that gauntlet, I think he's very
crit.
likely. Oh yeah. Well,
That's a
can't
lot of
skip the
damage.
G-Force. Looks like he got a
Yeah.
very early AP, starting AP that is. So.
Yeah, to skip G-Force, you need a lot of things to come together, and most of it's not within your control.
Yeah. Though with that crit, he could have potentially skipped this Bush Basher, because now he's going to see Viper's next turn unless he gets another crit, I think.
Yeah, I think he will see another turn. Yeah. And then he's just gonna throw a Sonic Sword, I'm sure.
Yeah, most likely. And then coming back to Corp, he got the Frog Prince off, and it looks like Bunyip is in critical, so he's probably just gonna throw a Luminaire right now and hope that kills, which it should.
Yep.
Right on the Gravitone turn, which is so. This is one of the things with the level 5 Frog Prince, and also part of like his Lena's magic not being so high, is that you tend to have to risk 300 Loomies really good though. You have to risk an AP roll on Bunyip to get that Luminaire on. Generally speaking.
Yeah. So I mean, Corp finishes Bunyip, gonna be heading up to catch up with Rom at the top of Fort Dragonia, where RomTimney is in his last fight of the race actually.
Yeah, looks like Rom might end up with like a 213 something, which is I wonder if that might be his fastest.
I think this fight usually takes around 2 minutes. So I believe it might be like right on the cusp of 214, but it'll be close.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, in his current, at least any percent PB, his Lynx 2 time was 214. So
I think Serge is Lena getting glide hooked.
Well, Ron picked a good time to PB.
well, it may not be his Lynx 2 PB because he has his any percent splits up.
If I were Rom, I'd continue this run. It seems like a really good run for him.
He can't.
He can't because he did pick up
skipped too many
photons.
things.
Ah,
Yeah, he elected to skip the Diminish and the Photon Beam. Not to say that he can't do it, it's just he's gonna have to figure out a way to kill White Knight in any percent quickly, which that Photon Beam does the majority
A
of
lot.
the work. So it's pretty hard to not
I mean, if Harl's magic is strong enough, you can still be okay with throwing a lower element, but I don't know that he'd want to deal with it.
Yeah,
Unless,
he's not really
unless you're
set up
really,
for it.
really far ahead.
Unless something crazy happens, I believe you're going to be right, Carbon. I do think this will be a 213, right at the edge of it.
I think he still needs a crit here. He's just shy.
Yeah. So actually, we'll be like right at the edge of 214, right?
Yeah. So he might Sonic Sword, or he'll just 2-2 with Surge, and that should do
Well, never mind. He missed all 3 of those, so
it. Please
ignore
Sonic Sword.
everything. Oh, there's
Okay,
the crit.
There
Oh,
it is.
it'll be like, wow, it's gonna be like a 214 on the dot.
Like on, yeah.
And
Right as
two-
Corp is going into Viper, so GG's Rom. Oh, 22 there.
GG Rom.
GG Rom. But yeah, if he didn't have those Surge misses, I think he would have been sub 214. So. And Corp coming in on the Viper fight. Wow.
Look, I just want to say. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say both of their Surges are just really high health.
Yeah, like Corp, for all the things that like kind of went wrong in the race here, to be finishing which is probably gonna be like still under like a 218 or so is gonna be that's really good.
Yeah, I think if you can just completely disregard the son of a gun stuff and that bunyip thing, and had like just normal, like even like suboptimal fights, and not what happened. Yeah, I think they would have been so close on this run. Like,
right.
It would have been neck and neck, like within like 30 seconds, I would say. But that is, the fort is one of the biggest places where you lose time in Chrono Cross, just because things happen. It takes a lot of mental fortitude to be able to do it properly, and it takes a lot of luck for the game to not mess with you too much.
Mental fortitude for Fort Dragonia.
I mean, that's actually kind of like why all of it kind of like contextually links together. It's why like whenever runners complain about getting third keyed, it's not just because the third key is in a bubble. It's because you know that Fort can also do it to you, right? So you don't want to walk in after already losing, 2 free minutes to RNG just to walk into the Fort and have to rely on Lena and APs and misses and.
Right, and then all the encounters that are not the easiest to dodge.
Right. It's just when
it's
runners complain about it, like they're usually complaining about like now they have to really get lucky for things to even just average out.
Right. But I mean, like you were mentioning, I mean both of these runners to get through this in this type of a time with everything that's happened, so I mean that's just a testament to their skill.
Yeah, because like it's in a race too, like where you don't even have it's not like just the time by itself, like you don't even have the benefit of resetting. You just start in whatever stats you're given, whatever happens, you just have to go and deal with it. Ooh, Serge getting glide hooked though. His Surge is healthy though, so he should do the defend here on this turn, and even if Surge attacks him, even if Lynx attacks Surge, unless like a crit or something crazy happens, like with him defending, he should have lived.
Yeah, that 150 did seem like a lot though.
It did actually.
But yeah, he should defend here.
Oh?
I'm not doing it.
That could be a little bit risky.
Yeah, if Serge gets hit, he's definitely dead. But not targeted.
Not punished. It looks like Lynx is picking on. Oh no, I thought I was going to Lena, but.
We're throwing the threes, fishing for crits. I think if he had just done twos, that actually and they hit, he probably kills there. But...
Carbon, I need you to route out whenever Lynx, based on Lynx's move that he does. He uses Aqua Ball. You just do 2 blues and a Frog Prince. Finish the fight.
the
GG Corp, by the way.
Yeah, GG's Corp. Just 4 minutes behind.
GG's 218. Not that bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, without, like I said, without all those like the shenanigans that happened, that's definitely 215, maybe sub.
Yep.
So yeah, GG's Corp and Rom.
Rom doing the feral cats.
Yeah, Rom's definitely not taking this further then. That's a lot of damage from that FC.
Yeah, I think if the runners want to come on and say something, I'd love to hear from them.
Hey everyone.
Yeah, what's up, Corp? How you feeling about that race?
Not great.
That's fair.
Great.
Did
Yeah, I
you
tried to stick it out.
Did you know it was so close for like the longest time?
Yeah, I opened up the stream and saw like ever since the ghost ship, pretty much what 20 seconds ahead. So it's a really close race. But yeah, slip of the thumb on giant gloop.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, I was gonna genius and I turned him blue instead. Somehow I forgot to use magnify altogether, but because of the slip of the thumb, it really frazzled me. It's because I wanted to think about if I should run or not, and in between everything I forgot, and then yeah, just tried to. But you know, giant gloop was really nice. Kept healing my party, so that was something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Avoided the deluge at least.
yeah. But son of a gun, that was a different story. That was all me. I completely messed that up. But it's okay. It happens.
It does happen, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you also got a little like unlucky misses and kind of the AP start. So, and I mean, you tend to keep a pretty cool head. So I don't know how much that gloop thing like impacted you, but I mean, you ran really well like throughout all of that.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't focused as I normally was. About, I guess, after the ghost ship, started to lose focus. But again, it happens.
Well, how did you feel about the race, Rom? Anything you want to touch on that happened in your
This
run?
was actually my PB by like 5 seconds, so I'm
Oh.
really happy with it. I had some crazy RNG, like some really good RNG, and then some like not so good, but it kind of overwhelmingly was pretty good RNG. I got Power Glove, and I got an extra Magic Ring, and I got the extra Gauntlet. So even though my stats were kind of crappy, but those items kind of offset it a bit, so that was nice.
Yeah, let's go. Congrats on the PB.
Yeah,
Congrats, Rom.
Is that the second or third PB throughout this tournament for Lynx 2? I think.
That was my first.
I know
think you mean-
Silver had one earlier.
Yeah, I think you mean
Yeah,
overall.
no, that was my old splits. I haven't PB'd, so that my last Lynx 2 PB was my last full run. So that was probably a few months ago. So I finally beat it, which is cool.
Yeah, I think overall this is like it was really interesting to watch. We actually, for the longest time, even though the fort, we were actually saying that it was hard to keep up with y'all stats because y'all were so close together.
Oh
Yeah, I mean, all the way up through like basically up until Gloop, you were like within like a minute of each other for the most part. So,
I also believe, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think this is the last time that we will see either one of y'all racing because I believe Corp
Oh,
will
yeah.
go to play Hobbs, I believe, still, and Rom will move to play Carbon, I think.
Dine, if you're there, if you want to. I think that's correct.
Something like that, yeah.
That is correct, yeah. This is a double elimination bracket, so each one of these runners have to lose 2 matches to be out. So Corp or Hobbs do have another chance to try and bring it back.
Yep. So that's going to be really interesting. We get to see more Corp. We get to see more runners in general. I believe this continues next weekend, right, Dine?
Yeah, the Suikotathon's next weekend, so everyone tune in for that. oldest weekend in games, weekend in communities, really good community as well. And then we'll be back on the 18th for Hobbs versus CorporateImage. And then the 19th is a 3 team of 2 Chrono Trigger race. 3 people are doing yes LSS and 3 people are doing no LSS. So if you're a fan of Chrono Trigger, be sure to tune in for that.
Yeah, I don't have any other questions, but I don't know if Corp or Rom, you have anything else you want to say, and then Dine can close us out.
I'm good.
GG's to Corp. That was a fun race. Definitely close. I was getting scared at the end there.
Yeah, GG's Rom. Congrats on the PB again.
Yeah, thank you.
GG's to the runners in the commentary. We're starting to get a lot. We've had a lot of close races, a lot of PBs. The races are starting to get closer and closer now, and as the commentary was saying earlier, it's a little hard to keep track of everything, especially when everyone gets on the same boss fight. But without repeating myself, we will see you. If I was smart, I'd have the calendar open. We will see you on September the 18th. Be sure to tune in next week for the Suikotathon. Thank you again for RPG Limit Break for allowing us access to their channel. I'm going to send you all to Porsyth. He is doing a Final Fantasy II Pixel Remaster race with Deln. So if you're interested in the Pixel Remasters, be sure to check them out. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Have yourselves a good weekend, and we'll catch you later.